I don't care what anybody says. It's like the best part.
I know. It has such a good look to it.
It's relaxing, but you're like, yeah, that stuff's about to happen.
It's definitely. I'd like to point out that my co-host, JD McGibney,
oh, look at that,
is a ninja.
I am.
Right? And I'm not.
I think you are a ninja because you were able to take that picture by yourself of yourself.
I didn't take this picture.
No, of you.
This? I didn't take this.
Oh, well, then whoever took it's a ninja.
No one took this.
Oh.
It just exists.
That right there is proof that you're a ninja.
I didn't take the picture. I just captured the moment.
It's definitely a ninja move.
Ah, look at me. Did you? I took this photo, didn't
You did?
Yeah, that's what it's not. As you can see, there's no weird lighting.
What the hell's a light?
There's no weird lighting. It's not just JD doing like monk stuff.
Oh, hello. Look at me float. I should just do one where I'm floating on a Nimbus cloud and there's a dragon behind me and I'll have a dragon book.
Can I ask you a question? When you take those photos, do you have a plan in your head, or you just look for cool shots?
Normally, it's like I have an idea for. We play with this lighting thing that I just recently discovered.
Cool shots.
Yeah, cool shots.
Now, every time you take a cool shot, when you post it, does it mix into your narrative, your brand narrative?
That is a very good question.
And I would say no. Cool shots aren't always quality narrative. There has to be a brand to it.
Yeah, because that, it would not make any sense if I were like, scuba diving.
Well,
there's a bunch of studio pictures or like I'm talking with people and then scuba diving, wrestling sharks. That would make no sense.
I wish you would wrestle sharks because it would make this show more interesting.
Can we get a shark?
Yeah, absolutely. So, but like when you get into it, like even when we did Tenebra shots, like they always have to be black and white, and we always dressed up, and we always made it moody and gloomy and gooey.
Gooey.
But
I have so many questions about the gooey part.
But like we try not to have photos taken of us just casually around. Like there was always a purpose to the photos to match our brand.
Because also with Tenebra, you guys were playing up the theatricality of the brand, correct?
Correct. However, when you're taking photos of yourself and you associate it with the Angels on the Battlefield or the JD McGibney, like you have multiple brands. So if you're just taking photos, you're like, this photo's cool, but in context, it has nothing to do with the brand. You're disassociating your audience from the brand's message and just letting them get interested in, oh, you take cool shots or you look good in that shot. So
I have a question for you.
Oh,
being that the whole idea with like Tenebra and now Altanyan, the fact that it revolves around like these characters and this world and all this like mysticism and everything, a big part of it is that theatricality. How do you do the marketing for the quote unquote behind the scenes for, say, something that is supposed to be just a character? Is it done through the Thomas J. Veleza brand and its associations with those two things, or is there a way to do it so that like Tenebra and Altanyan are able? Are you having trouble over there?
Yeah, I am. You give me questions. I don't think it shows you the. So I can answer that question very easily. Hey, connection is fairly good. Look at that.
We are connected.
We are connected. The thing I would say is Altanyan itself has a very specific message. So if I am going to do behind the scenes stuff, I have to do it from my, like Thomas J. Veleza's perspective or BBR's perspective. However, I can take a photo of something we are doing. Like, for example, I take a shot of like me. Let's just say I'm filming a video, and someone takes a shot of behind the scenes of the video. It's okay to take that shot for the band as behind the scenes, but I wouldn't post that shot on the band page or the band website. And the reason is because that's something I have to market it as if it's somebody else's like looking on to us. Because there is no behind the scenes. We don't want people to see behind the curtain in the sense of like. So
that would be the either BBR or Thomas J. Veleza.
Yeah, like
or whoever's
taking the photo or whatever the case may be, and that's fine.
And then through the Altanyan, it would just be the strict presentation.
Yeah, it would be the presentation, interviews, things like that. It would be. It would probably, if it's a screenshot of the video, that's different than a behind the scenes shot of the video.
Oh, are you saying like the final product, the screenshot?
Yeah, like something like that.
So like Altanian surrounded by like dark misty ash.
Yeah, and then you go, oh, that's a cool shot.
Ties
Let's
of
put
black.
that on. But again, if I just take that photo and I post it, and then I'm like,
What's the narrative?
I had a cool time filming this, then now I'm breaking the brand narrative. But if it's philosophically dark or divine, or usually everything Talmorn says is always an observation of humanity, and it's a
And depressing.
No, I would say everything he says is not depressing. I would stand by that 100%. Just because you find it depressing or the human brain finds it depressing doesn't necessarily mean it is depressing. It's him being accurately observant. You know, he's seeing, or more accurately, it's seeing the truth in the scenario without color coding. You know,
He drops that.
Yeah. It's not like he's like, you know, death is gloomy. You know,
He just makes an observation from his perspective.
from his divine perspective, that's the thing. Like some people go, it doesn't make any sense. I go, it shouldn't make sense.
He is the God of all of existence.
Yeah, he's talking, and again, I'm not that I am a god, you know, that I can talk
It's a
about.
character.
It's a character. So, you know, sometimes I have to explore thoughts that normally I wouldn't really dive into. But once I get there, if it makes too much sense to me, I know that I have to go deeper.
So, would you say that most of the things that you have Telmorn say, you don't fully understand?
No, I understand everything that's
Uh.
every single time.
Has there ever been any point where you've come up with something that you wanted to say with Altanian or for Altanian?
No.
That you're like, I don't get this. And you
No,
come to like,
because everything I have to say with him, I already know. Like I already understand. I understand. If I didn't understand it, I wouldn't know.
big one.
If I didn't understand it, I wouldn't know it. Meaning, like it wouldn't be something that was in my mind.
Gotcha. You're saying it would just, if you understand it, it already pops in.
Yeah, it's already something of my psyche. But anyway, that's not. But like people don't understand. Sometimes they'll go in like a warehouse. Bands do this all the time. I think your band did it once too. But it's like a band thing.
We went into an abandoned mental asylum.
Yeah.
Took pictures.
And like they take photos, and
It's like,
like
what does
why?
that have to do with the narrative?
Yeah, like what was your band's name?
We did Psychosis.
Psychosis. So
We also did Underpants. We did Tree. We did a forest.
yeah, but let's go back to the same time. What is Psychosis about? What does Psychosis mean? The name itself.
Psychosis, like disassociation from reality.
Okay, disassociation from reality. All right. So what did the song lyrics represent?
Mostly inner struggle, outer struggle, being able to figure out
So struggle. It was like a little bit of inner struggle, a little outer struggle, and then like existential struggle,
and then one
like,
song about Vikings.
and Vikings. So struggle.
Very much.
What was your mission?
We did not have a mission.
So what does taking a photo in an abandoned mental institution that no one knows is a mental institution? It's just a destroyed building.
It did not have anything other than it had a quote unquote cool aesthetic.
Cool aesthetic. Now let's go a little closer. What the hell were you guys even wearing in that shot? Jeans, a shirt,
I
some
was
guy.
definitely wearing pants.
Yeah, but what I'm
We
saying,
definitely were not matching.
you're not matching, right? So, you know, bands think like that, actors think like that. Like actors will be like, I need to take a photo, a headshot of me as a professor. You know, like here's me as a business person. Like all that is insane. Like build your relationships. When I meet a writer or a director, right? My brain as a business person is like, I want to be friends with you. Not that I need you to cast me or hire me, but I'm going to learn the industry just from watching you and being around. Keep in mind, you know, they're obviously not influentially successful for themselves. I probably will not dedicate a lot of time to them, mostly because if they're not able to run their life like a business, I know I can't learn anything. If they're just like, you just got to film things. It's
You're like, thank you.
Of course I have to film things for my, you know, that's for me, like as an artist, as an actor. But more importantly, whatever it is you want to do, you've got to get around those people. So if you're an actor, you want jobs, you want like acting gigs, right? So hang out with writers, directors, producers, because those are the ones that will cast you, especially as they get bigger. If you're a musician, you hang out with who?
you hang out with people like
Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you also hang out with successful bands. And by successful bands, it means that they're making a living within their field of interest. And then the other thing is you hang out with people in that industry that are, tour press, people that travel around and tour, because what can you do? You can end up helping them. Go, hey, I'll go with you for free. I got time.
No,
And I could assist you, I'll do whatever.
There's stories of people who started off as just, roadies for bands and end up becoming,
Well, now you're going to another step. Being a roadie for a band is the same as being a hired musician for a band. Like you're stepping into a job and not necessarily being around them.
And I meant to. It was a poor lead into the heading onto your thing, where it's like they had opportunities to do something within their field of interest, which led them to do what they wanted to, which is great.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is being around
those people.
Roadies. That would be more what we're talking about. If you could be around roadies, that could lead to you getting a job as a roadie, which could lead you to get a job as a musician, which could lead but again, you're not doing these things to get those jobs. You're doing those things to create influential relationships, opportunities, building your
genuine friendships.
Yeah, genuine
with people that you actually get along with.
For comedians, it's the same thing. Hang out with club owners, hang out with promoters, hang out with headliners. It's all the same thing with writers. You want to be a successful writer, hang out with other writers that are successful, but more importantly, hang out with editors, hang out with publishers, hang out
Do you
with
think that
all the time.
A lot of people don't think that way because they feel that people within the entertainment industry are somehow unobtainable? Because it's like
No, I don't believe that.
Oh, you don't?
No.
So why is it you feel that most people
Ego, selfishness, arrogance. It's mine. It's my way or the highway.
So people
I
are
want to be
dicks, is
discovered.
what you're saying.
No, they're not. They don't know any. They don't know any better. If you don't know better, you don't know better. If all I know is if I make this because I'm awesome, amazing, and unique, and this is something I created, of course it's going to be great. My brain is like, I want to become successful on this thing I made. Instead of thinking, let me help other people become successful on what they made, because they're already doing it, and I could help them and get involved and elevate them. And that will just lead to opportunities. But don't do it because it will lead to opportunities, because that insincere energy will be seen. But if I'm a band, like you did it, I did it. I was like, I want my music to be successful. So I'm not going to play with any other bands. I'm going to focus on my band. We're better than everyone else. It's competition. When we play a show, we're just there to steal the fans. What position do we play on this? Like, how do we play first, second, or third? Do we close out the night? Do we try to, maybe if we play first, there'll be people there to see their friend's band. So we'll get there was a strategy to the insanity.
There was, and it was definitely very selfish.
And selfishness will get you nowhere. And my career, not having to work a quote unquote day job for as long as I have, is probably contributed to my selflessness, changing my perspective, and being more about getting involved and less about right now I have the Circle and 21-3 and a couple other projects, right? But I know those projects can't do anything without other people.
And the more that you've focused on helping people and giving people and helping that you're a circle of influence, the more it obviously has given back. And just even in the short time that I've been with you at BBR, just watching you literally firsthand, every day, I've seen that come back.
Yeah, I mean, most of our work is from that. Most of our referrals are from that.
Just because you're like, oh, I like this person as a person. Let me help them.
Yeah.
It's just little things. Even if it's just a little bit of advice here and there. Even if it's just as much as you know what, I was thinking about you today. I hope you're doing well, and having a conversation, letting that person know that you actually care about them.
And, because I do. But more importantly, you have to remember, if your mentality is you're talking to somebody, right? Like, let's say I'm talking to you.
Hi.
And I'm like, I got this really great opportunity. Somebody's looking at my show. I'm talking to a studio. And your first thought is, I have projects. You didn't even say it. Your first thought is, I got projects. Maybe they'll introduce me to their people. You're an a-hole. You're selfish. You're not thinking about the situation. You're in the process of generating an up to respond, you're not listening. You're waiting to respond. And sometimes you let it out. Oh, wow, that's awesome. If you can, I have stuff too if you'd like to bring it to me. Yeah, I want to take your stuff and the relationship I worked really hard to build with this person that I'm not even friends with yet. I'm going to bypass what we've been doing for months and months and months with conversation and go, by the way, even though we're working on this, I have a friend who gave me some stuff that I really have no interest in, and I want you to look at it. It's not that it's competition where it's like, oh, well, if they look at this, they're not going to do my thing. It's just you're being disrespectful to the amount of time and effort it took. Now, there's a difference between, like, let's say I get that opportunity, I build that relationship. I don't even get my show picked up. It's just that relationship continues building. And then one thing leads to another, and we're talking, and you have a project, and I go, oh, let me introduce you to my friend. That scenario is completely different. Completely different.
Yeah, because that's like you guys are just, the first scenario is.
Can you hear that thing?
I don't think so. I'm going to turn it off.
Yeah, good.
No,
I'll turn it off.
Right.
Say your thought.
What was I saying? Oh, yeah, the first scenario is you're talking to someone's sharing their excitement, they're sharing, the reward that they've basically, built up over this large amount of time, and like they're excited, they want to share that moment with you. So in that situation, the proper thing is to enjoy with your friend, the fruits of their labor, so to speak. Whereas in the second situation, you're having a conversation and your friend offers, hey, I have this opportunity, I would like to help you out.
Yeah, and you're building a stronger relationship with that kind of mentality. Whereas the other thing that's costing you points is for tech. If I'm like, oh, I'm going to use up some of my points, and be like, hey, I have a thing. Oh, great. I appreciate that you have a thing. I also have a thing, and I'm working it. And again, it's not that in that situation I'm being selfish either, where I'm like, no, my thing. It's that whatever I've been doing has developed this relationship and opportunity. If anything, you should be saying, what do you need? How can I help? If you need somebody on your team, I'm there. Even if it's not in a creative way, how can I just help?
I'll make a mean cappuccino.
Yeah. You need me to market it? You want me to start talking? Is there anything that you want to start talking about? Do you want it out there? Is it on IMDb yet? Because I'll just start interacting with the IMDb
page.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's being supportive. How can I help you get the best result from what you're doing? And that is truth in action. You don't want anything from me with that action. You're being genuinely helpful. Anyway, so today's episode is about life as an entertainer, what people don't tell you. So that's what we've been really talking about today so far.
I mean, they definitely don't tell you that part. And it's crazy too.
It is crazy.
Just knowing you for so long and hearing all of, like the education, and then like doing some of the research on my own to be like, when you give me examples about stuff, like so many people just don't understand really what's going on. People get so blinded by the art of things, they don't realize that it all just boils down to like those personal relationships and like treating people with respect, which is crazy because it's, kind of just boils down to, the main things in life. It's, support people, don't be a dick.
Yeah, but more importantly, it doesn't boil down to just relationships. And thanks, Nate.
Oh, Nate's here. Hey, Nate.
Yeah, we made it look clear today because we were like, the hell with it. Let's take off we took the film off the.
Yeah, they had that protective like plastic that you know.
Oh, Jesus, we've been filming this week. I don't believe it comes down to networking. It comes down. It depends what part of your career you're working on. If you're working on success, it comes down to network market practice. If you're trying to create longevity to your career, it comes down to management, entrepreneurial brain, and talent. If you're looking to fuel your purpose, if you're trying to give to your purpose, it comes down to security, growth, and dream. You know what I'm saying? Like it's never just one thing. And if you just focus on one thing,
then you're gonna fail.
You're gonna fail. If you focus on the art, you're gonna fail. A big logo on that red wall would look cool. It would look cool, but then we can't use it for anything other than BBR.
I mean, I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that. What we could do is one of these things. But then it covers my head.
We could just get like a little printout that we could stick on there.
What I was thinking is
we can have the
cover
dog.
your face.
I mean, that works. I could wear a BBR mask.
A big logo on that red wall would look cool.
You should have the dog draw the logo on a piece of paper.
I'd love to get a logo of Nate, just his face, like.
No, a picture of him in the bed.
Oh my god, that'd be great. In bed reviews.
Wrong channel. Wrong channel.
Subscribe to Nate's channel. Feel free to. Nate, you can pop your channel link up there if you want.
Yeah.
We love you enough. You can pop it up there.
We'll give you a high five.
Yeah, high five. Woo! Yeah,
high five that.
That's the whitest thing I'm gonna do all day.
No, it's not.
Having a big penis is the least whitest thing I'm gonna.
I mean, that's probably true.
Would you rather a big penis or a good personality?
Mm.
Because I'll be honest, you have a great personality.
All right, well, I'll stick with that one.
Would you be more upset if a girl was like, "Well, that's it," or if they were like, "That's not going to be able to go with me"? Which one would be more upset with?
I guess probably that's it.
Interesting.
It's like,
Interesting. See, society. By the way, as an entertainer, we take a standard to life that dictates a lot of our actions. And by saying, that's it, you would be more offended by someone believing that you are smaller than average than if you were bigger than average. But size, just like your career, has nothing to do with it. But how does that work? Because what I provide as a human being in any field that I am has nothing to do with the standard definition of society. Because
and that goes for physical as well as intellectual. Is what you're
everything. Not just the inside and the outside.
I mean, I got like this really extra large lung.
I got a huge lung. What are you doing? I'm sleeping.
What am I, the dog?
But to equate your answer to that, you understand that is what we're always talking about on the show, is changing your brain. You should not be basing it off of what society suggests. You should not be basing it off what you think society suggests, right? Because you're basing like, and small and average because society throws it on you. It's all about being size, right? But it's not. And it's the same thing with our efforts as businesses, as entertainers. Like what we need to do is not necessarily what we see people doing or what we're told to be doing.
Because sometimes we have to listen and read between the lines.
Always have to read between the lines. But if someone tells you need headshots, a reel, and a manager to be successful,
they should just look at your path and have the fact that you basically had none of that and still ended up getting stuff.
The thing is, if you believe a headshot, a reel, and a manager gets you opportunities, you're not doing your job. Because if you're reliant on things, you're not in control. If I don't have the best reel, now I have to wait before I start making opportunities. That's why you would have to change your brain, because now you're limiting yourself,
and you're taking away the control of your,
well, what are the responsibilities to find success? Okay, network market practice. Thank you, JD. It's not like I said it literally 2 seconds ago or for the last 8 years. But anyway. Yeah, I hope not. But the reality is, if I tell you you need a reel, you're not focusing on network market practice. You're focusing on what can I do to get a reel together, right? It's the same thing with a headshot. Well, now I need $800 or $1,600 or $400, wherever you go, which is $2,000 to get headshots. So I can't do these other things, because why would I hear this all the time, and I know you can contest this. Bands always say, well, why would I start marketing myself? I don't have an album or a song, or I don't have this, I don't have that. And actors do it too. I have nothing to promote. Why am I going to talk about myself? Because you're not supposed to talk about yourself. Marketing is not about you. It's about being remembered. So giving some value to your mission, ideals, and morals, so people go, I can relate to those
Which
things.
Also goes beyond your music, because your music is just a byproduct.
The hell with music, writing, art, whatever it is you do is not necessarily your mission, morals, or ideals. And more importantly, if you're focusing on a thing, you're not focusing on the grand picture. And you should be doing a little of everything. Like some people are like, oh, well, I'll just focus on networking. It's like, no, if you just focus on networking, you'll know a lot of people, but nobody will know you. What does that mean? Well, networking is who you know, marketing is who knows you, and practicing is knowing yourself, knowing your strengths and weaknesses and what you can bring to the table, right?
We learned yesterday that I'm not good at making burgers that won't kill you.
I literally felt like I was going to throw up all day.
I'm sorry for almost killing you.
That's all right.
Again.
I'm still having some. You know what it is? I think you have like a dog belly, so you can eat whatever you want, but like I can't eat, wet meat.
So you that's why you need it to be like a hockey puck, pretty much.
No, I don't know. I like it juicy, but look, it's 5 minutes. It's either 6 minutes, 5 minutes, or 5 minutes, 6 minutes. On one side, 5 minutes, and that's a good hamburger. All right. But you don't cook. You don't cook with rules. You experiment when you cook. You just let it flow through you. You let the JD method. Oh, you know what? I'm going to try to do this thing. Thank you for the information. I'm going to JD it. And then what do? You improvise, right?
I mean, sometimes.
So when you cook, you have a literal plan. You have
like when I'm doing burgers. Then yes.
Well, what's your plan? What's your ingredients?
For
did you put onions in the burger meat?
In mine.
And did you? Mm-hmm. You didn't put any in mine?
Yeah, because I didn't want to mess around with it, so I left yours plain.
These guys didn't even ask if I wanted it. You just left it on the table. Here, pig. You put it. You do whatever you want. Anyway, onions change the consistency. Therefore, you have to put it in a different length of time.
Yes.
What do you mean, yes? If you knew that, you would have cooked it properly.
I cooked it medium rare.
You did not. You did not cook it medium. You cooked it rare in the middle, which it's still supposed to be warm. Mm-hmm. Medium rare is still warm.
It is.
The center is juicy, but it doesn't. If you bite into a hamburger and the middle is cold, that is not a medium rare burger.
Well, then so again, apologize for
you don't have to apologize for this behavior.
I don't want to kill you.
You didn't try to kill me, so you don't have to apologize.
Or did I?
So weird. How's that mercury going? All right.
Let's just start falling.
Here, enjoy your water. You got really nice rings. Why are they so big? Oh, no reason.
This is mercury poison ring.
But anyway, where were we? Oh, yeah. So don't allow the standard of what you believe society wants from you, and don't allow society to dictate the standard. What you need to focus on outside of the variables of everyone's existence is network market practice to create success, manage your time, money, and people, utilize your entrepreneurial brain, and develop talent. And talent isn't just a craft, it's the talent of understanding your industry for longevity. And then you want to fuel your purpose by creating 3 accounts, 4 if you go for the emergency fund, but those 3 accounts of security, growth, and dream, because you want to protect yourself, invest in yourself, which is assets, and then of course, reward yourself in a timely manner. But more importantly, so you would be more upset at the wee little lad than the
wee little lad is a little upset.
So if someone's like, you have a halfling, not a minotaur, you would be upset.
Yeah, well, I feel like the minotaur would just be painful because it's got horns.
No, I'm just using those as metaphors to size and not literal representations of an abomination of a penis. Sir, you might need to go see a doctor. Why is that? Not only can you be milked.
That's utterly ridiculous.
But, someone's going to write in, that's impossible. Bulls would be boys and they can't give milk. Well, I hate to tell you, but some cows grow horns.
Are you steering this in a certain direction?
Oh my God! This is JD's last show, everyone. Anyway, what do you have? What do you have to add to today's topic, or is that it? Are we done for today?
I mean, that's
the show.
Been going off.
You got nothing to add? All right. The dream of being an entertainer comes with the glory of celebrity, money, and success. What does it take to maintain this idea once achieved, or even the act to achieve it? Is trading your morals for results worth it? What do you want out of your career, and how will you give back to have a career?
I have a question for you.
Not Christ. And not the Christian Christ.
Oh, yeah. Wait, there's multiple Christs?
Oh, Christ down the street. He's actually a nice guy.
Oh, yeah. No, I know that guy. He has like brown.
Yeah, every 3 days I got to deal with him.
What is it that made you want to venture out into multiple areas of entertainment, not just the behind the scenes, but the multiple areas of being an entertainer, so like doing music, being an actor, and being a comedian?
I didn't want to venture out to multiple areas.
Oh, so then why do it?
Because I can. This is a big difference.
So you're like, I can do this, so let me do it?
Correct. Everything I do, it's because I can do it.
So was it just to try it out because you can? Or is
No.
it, oh,
Well, comedy, I did it because it was just on my to-do. Like I wanted to,
you're
like, let me try comedy. And I was like, oh, I really like this. So it became something I had time to do.
you're like, ooh, I can do it funny.
The only thing I ever wanted to do was amount power and opportunity to open up an avenue to help others. That's what I've always wanted to do. And I have been doing it in to me, it's a limited capacity compared to what like I would like to be doing. But I would like to be one of those massive studios that has like a division that just gives money to anybody, even if it's going to be crap. But it's like obviously limited to a certain amount.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's like the money making stuff, and then there's like the artistic. Like I would like.
You're like, you just want to be able to say yes to people because you want people
Yeah.
to follow their dreams.
Like if a crappy band came to me and like we want to be successful, I would be like, well, what is that to you? What is success to you? And if they say just touring, I'd be like, all right, well, if we do this, we'll pay for it. But I just want you to know you're not going to get paid. I'd be like, what do you mean? Well, we're going to pay for your touring, but you don't care about the stuff that makes you money. We'll have albums. No one's going to buy your albums, but we'll be on tour. All right, so I'll finance it. And then once you start making money and you pay me back, I will pay you. And they'd be like, well, don't we get anything? Yeah, you get to do the thing that you believe is success. Until you want to run your business, you know, like I just want to be able to pay for somebody to live their dream out. However, they would still have to be under the responsibility of the reality, you know. So
Which makes sense. So I have a follow-up question. Why is it that you got into entertainment, not say going into like psychology, going into politics?
I could have swore that I did go into psychology and politics.
As in like open a practice, like a psychiatrist?
No, like everything I do is based on psychology and politics.
But you're not within those, you're not a career politician and you're not a career like.
I didn't become a politician because when they wanted me to run, they wanted me to run as a Republican, and I'm not a Republican, and they wanted me to cut my hair.
Which
And
definitely.
they said, you don't have to be a Republican, just run as a Republican. Go up in the industry, and then as you get closer and closer to where you want to be, you can change your affiliation. And I said, all right, but I'm still not going to cut my hair. And he says, you got to cut your hair. And I go, well, that's where we differ. I don't got to do anything. You want me to cut my hair because it'll appease your standard of society's acceptance, whereas my long hair should have no bearing on, or dictation to.
Yeah, it's just your hair.
It's my hair. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So I did not go that route, even though I have the speaking abilities and the viewpoints. I also believed I would be shot within my first week of being a mayor because I'm so. I was originally going for treasury, and then they wanted to make me mayor.
That's a drastic shift.
It takes years and years to get there, but that was the goal. That was like, if we do this, this will be the goal.
I'm assuming this is for some place on the island.
Yes, Suffolk. But I was originally going to run for Riverhead Treasury. But and because I was good with money.
Yeah.
But
are good with money.
I am good with money.
Are good.
Are good, not with grammar. However, why I feel I'd be shot is because I believe everyone deserves health, wealth, and education. So that's where I differ from every human being.
A good chunk of people.
Yeah. Well, political agendas do not want health, wealth, and education for people. So I believe all those avenues should be open to everyone. There should be industries that are teaching people how to develop wealth, because the more wealth we have in the world, the more we can dedicate that wealth to better health and also
and making
the better education.
And just making the world a better place in general instead of fighting and arguing over stupid shit.
Make it a better place for you and for me and the if you can. Also, I believe in a one world nation. So
that also goes against most politicians, because that would ruin most of their careers.
You don't believe in America? I do believe in America, but I also believe in Canada and Africa
because they all exist.
Yeah, I believe they are things, but we should be a one world nation with territories, but like
because it just makes it easier to organize and manage things if you can be like, oh, we're gonna you control this but you organize and make sure this section's running, and you can subdivide that so that's why you don't have to have one person running 13.
Well, just like there's a
people.
governor of New York, and then there's a mayor of New York City, a mayor of the Long Island. And
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, politician with long hair would be cool. Nate.
So basically, that's why you didn't get into politics. But why not go into like psychology and why not become a psychiatrist?
Because I don't like listening to people cry. There's a difference between like, go ahead, tell me about your day, and like absorbing all this high energy information, and then just be like, all right, well, here are the tools. Because you've seen me teach. I go, this is what you need to do. There will be variables, but you still need to network. How you network, that's on you. But you need to build and cultivate relationships. Why? Because building relationships lead to a group of large friends and associates and family members that will influence your circle. And then you need to cultivate those relationships so they have value and you grow points through the tax system, the art of conversation system, to establish some sort of point plus minus trading aspect.
And then you got to market.
But how we're just talking about networking, where you have to do it. And then I explain all the tools involved in that and why you do it. But the variable of how you do it is on you. I don't teach. I don't tell you, you got to go to events and, you
got to talk to this person for this many minutes.
But I will say, get involved. I go, get involved in your industry. If you want to be successful, you have to get involved. But I'm not saying get involved just to know, or you get involved so you can network, market, and practice. So again, there are variables on how you would get involved, but you do need to get involved. You have to. Do I suggest things to people? Yeah, I'll suggest things to people, but that's
more just like, here's an idea, go off of it, not like that's the be all.
Yeah, the be all. Like, I hate that. Like when I can tell you something and then like that becomes the road of opportunity for you, and I'm like, yeah, but what about those other things? Yeah, but you said, and I was like, oh my God, you're that person. So it took me a while to not care about anything you do anymore. But
it's still not going well. I still see the fumes. So basically, you decided not to go into psychiatry because you don't want to listen to people cry all day.
Because there's no solutions for me in therapy. Like, I'm not helping people. I'm giving people tools to like get through their day, and I would rather give people tools to be able to achieve things, which I think is different. And I believe tools to better your psyche is a lot different than tools to achieve your dreams.
Yes. I feel like the battling your psyche is more of like a in the moment thing, whereas you're giving people tools literally for their entire life.
Yeah, plus I probably sleep with all my female patients.
Okay, Dr. Freud.
I just would. I
I
wouldn't want to.
It would just happen.
Yeah, it would just happen because they would feel so comfortable around me. And I was like, I can't give that opportunity up. You know what it is when guys are like, see that girl over there, man? I would totally sleep with her. And I'm like, great. Why don't you tell her? Why don't you let her know that you would totally sleep with her? Well, you can't just tell her that. Yeah, but I mean, the door is open for her. You got to let her know that, if she, someone who's out of your league, would come over here, she has a chance with you telling me, like I was supposed to, yeah, bro, you would totally sleep. Oh, you know what? I would sleep with that girl too. The one with one leg? Yes, I would sleep with her. I would sleep with that one and that one. Probably not that one. Why not? Because I don't think that one has a vagina. I want to sleep with her vagina. I will lay with it. I will put a pillow under it. I will cuddle the vagina.
Slightly pet it.
I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care what you look like. If you have a vagina and are physically into the penis, I'll have sex with it. If you were born with a vagina. But I always found that funny when guys are just like, I'd sleep with her. She's like a 10. Yeah, well, you're like a 2 to her. If she saw her, you'd be a 2. She'd be like, what the hell's that? She'd be going, I would not sleep with that guy over there. And her girlfriends are like, yeah, girl. Yeah. Why don't you go over there and let him know you won't sleep with him? You know what? Not telling him. He still won't sleep with you. See, there's no sleeping with anybody. I don't know why I got all crazy there.
That's really funny though.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Like guys say it as if they have a chance. Girls say it as if it matters. I wouldn't sleep with him. Yeah, no crap. You just don't have to talk to him, and then that dream will be true.
Bringing dreams to reality.
Yeah, bringing dreams to reality. I will sleep with him. Go do it, bro. Go do it. Go do it. Yeah. There's variables to it, but this is how it's gonna work. You just go up to him. You duck the first slap. Baby, you wanna sleep with me?
Avoid the knee.
Oh wait, what we got here?
We got some.
People love drawing penises in abandoned places. That is an accurate and very true statement of observation. I appreciate it.
Is definitely accurate.
Yeah, that's too accurate, Nate.
He's been following my art.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw it in this insane asylum where this band got some photos.
That's so weird.
That was so crazy.
There's all these things going on. It's all these broken windows.
And you know, Peter. Peter. Yeah. My wife has been sleeping with Quagmire.
I miss when that show used to be like really, really good and used to just like push the envelope.
You know why I don't like you, Brian?
Oh god, that was so good. It's like a 4-minute.
Because you're a horrible best friend, okay?
That's got like
feed you. You pine over his wife.
That's like a good 3 or 4 minutes. That one thing. That's like a quarter of the entire episode. Is that one shot on Quagmire?
Oh my god, they do some crazy stuff. There's this video I made with my cousin Ryan. Made it. I put it on the show. But there's like an elephant that pees for like 3 or 4 minutes, and then like he flushes the the elephant. No, I think I think the elephant is peeing. The elephant's peeing, but anyway, he's trying to flush the toilet. And he flushes it twice. Then he washes his hands, and then he like opens the door and he's like, "I'm gonna go." But like it's really long, and we're just looking at a door the whole time. It's just these crazy sounds. I love stuff like that. Where like. And one of my friends was like, if it was like maybe like 10 seconds shorter, it'd be good. And I was like, no, what you just said made it the right length because I wanted somebody to be uncomfortable watching it. I wanted it to go from funny to not funny because then it would be funny. Like
it's so
it would be so funny. Why are we watching this one scene? Anyway.
So basically you got into entertainment because you felt like that would give you the best opportunity in order to actually give back to people and help them achieve their dreams.
No.
Oh, well then what is it that got you into entertainment, not another
I like telling stories and being creative. Remember, I started as an illustrator to do comic books. I wanted to be a writer. That's before anything, I wanted to be a writer, but I was told I was basically stupid and I should find a trade.
I feel like those teachers should have just been like flogged with bamboo.
I would have slept with them. I don't know if they know it. I should have let them know, but I would have slept with every single one of my female teachers.
We should go tell.
My kindergarten teacher walked over me in a dress one time, and I saw her white panties, and I was like, "Whoa, I do not like white panties." But I would have slept with her. Anyway, I was like 4 though, so I would have had to wait until she was like a year older. But I wanted to be a writer, and everyone basically said I'm terrible, even though I make a living on it now. But the point is, they said I shouldn't be. So I decided to focus on drawing. And as much as I like drawing, I never really felt fulfilled with the drawing. And then it wasn't until comic books where I started like working on the stories.
But you were doing both.
Yeah, but it was more than I was doing the stories. Mm-hmm. And I like creating the characters and the concepts from the backgrounds and like the inventive aspects of all these things.
The writing.
Yeah, the writing. And since I was as good as I wasn't the best in the group. So I became a shader, like a shadow. I did the shadowing and the lining. But they were like, "You want to write something?" And I was like, "I'm not really a good writer." And then they were like, "Just you come up with great ideas, though." And I was like, "All right, let me try." And they were like, "Yeah, good photos."
You're like, "Oh, maybe I'm."
Yeah. And then ultimately, I had the drawing story where I was like, I got paid a lot of money, and they're like, "Sure, use this." And then I was like, "Let me do music," and music was a way for me to be creative, and in my mind, be in control of the creative aspect, which, by the way, is the beginning of my selfish journey. And then after that, I was like, I like working with people, so I wanted like group efforts, and the band wasn't really like. So I was like, let me try acting. And I was like, let me do comedy because I wanted to do comedy. And then I was like, let me write. I'm just gonna write.
And then people were like, here's money. And you're like, oh,
yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, once I started getting paid for it, was good. I have a cool story of the one extra who wanted to be a star. Is this the one from your crazy modeling experience? I would love to hear that story, Nate. We should totally have Nate on one day and just have him like tell the story. By the way, we're not sponsored by Pepsi, but we definitely would like to be sponsored by Pepsi.
We're pretty sure that if Thomas were to get pricked or cut, there would not be any blood. It would just be like dietary Pepsi
or sugar,
which is congealed. He doesn't get cholesterol. He has sugar.
He didn't bleed out, Your Honor. Why not?
Molasses. It just starts slowly oozing.
Would you, if you started peeing, right, and your pee was like coming out really slow,
like
but
molasses?
It was like, no, but it was like normal pee, but it just came out slow.
So like it's going in slow motion.
Yeah. Like time was slowed.
I would be so confused.
Yeah. And
I would after I was finished with the pee, I would probably consult the internet on how quantum physics works.
You wouldn't go to a doctor? Now, if you went to a doctor, what would you be more upset on? If they went, that's it? Or, Jesus, look at that Minotaur. Which one would make you more upset? And would you sleep with him?
I would go to a new doctor because none of them, it was talking about the fact that my pee was coming out really slow.
Well, maybe that's why they had decided the size of it. If it is indeed a Minotaur, there's definitely magic involved.
This is true.
And if it's that's it, that's just humor.
I was hoping for a Minotaur brightness.
I like when guys go, I wouldn't sleep with him. He's a dude. Okay. He probably wouldn't sleep with you either. Why not? Oh, I didn't care. If you had to sleep with somebody to save your life, would you pick a girl or a guy?
I would probably pick the girl.
Okay. But this is the problem. You can't just sleep with anybody.
That is true.
And I think a guy would step up. A straight guy would step up to save your life because bro power. Whereas a girl would be like, I don't want anything to do with you. So if that was your situation, would you just be like, all right, let's just get this over with?
Yeah, well, I guess.
Homosexual.
Listen, I still feel like I got a lot of life in me. So it's worth the one guy.
Dude, bro, I just want you to know I wouldn't sleep with him, but we gotta do this.
Sorry, I got you, bro.
I got you, bro, man.
See?
We just won't look at eyes. No homo. No homo.
Eyes closed.
Eyes closed.
Just pretend it's your sister. Right?
Yeah. Look, I'll only go 8 inches in. I won't go the full 9. What? No, I'm the top. No, bro. That's all you got. I got the Minotaur. Oh, crap. Well, this is going to be different.
Well,
after that, how was your day? It was different. Much different than I expected. I woke up and I had like this plan.
That plan definitely did not go as expected.
Yeah. By the end of the day, I was like, well, that's different.
Just got changed.
And then I kind of went to sleep with every light on in the house. 8 doors locked.
This is going to change things.
Oh my God, that'd be so cool.
Was that you had that one dream where it's like, oh, this is going to change things?
The dream is I'm in the car with a girl that I'm dating, like I'm with. And her baby, which is not mine, it's her kid. She had it with someone else. And it's like an infant. And it's in the back of the car in a baby seat. And we're driving. And my amazing driving skills avoided somebody ramming into us, like a bad accident. And I was able to swerve at it. But like in my head, I never drove with a baby in the car. So I was just driving as I would to avoid death. And I got out and I was like, woohoo, I saved us. And I look in the back and the kid's dead. I snapped his neck by accident. And then I just look at her and I go, well, this is going to change things.
End of dream.
It's so crazy, the dream. It would be a horrible, horrible situation. But then just look at it and be like, this is going to change things.
What else are you going to say in that moment? You can't be like, sorry. You can't be like, oops.
Oops.
Like, we can make another one.
It's an accurate statement of a terrible, terrible situation. Well, this is going to change things.
Dear God.
Good times. Oh, man.
It's definitely going to change things.
It's definitely going to change things. Anyway, so, what's when you do background, what are some of the things you hear actors say that sounds like things you would say as a musician before you met me?
Definitely, you need the headshot. You need your reel. You need to find an agent, and then everyone usually just ends up talking about like how much they spent or how much of a deal they got on like their headshots or like the things that their manager is doing or things that their agent's doing. They kind of just showboat and they peacock a lot. It's a lot of that.
Ooh,
very rarely have I, gotten into a conversation with like people on set where it didn't like progress past just like the peacocking back and forth. And the people that I was able to have like genuine conversations with and kind of like explore, oh, this is who you are as a person. Like those are the people that kind of like stood out.
You mean like outside?
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of the outdoor scenes, especially in the winter. Not fun. Definitely wear 2 sets of socks and get those the little hand warmers, but throw them in your shoes.
Throw me your shoes. So those are pretty common mistakes where they think if I had this. And I'm gonna tell a story about YouTube. I don't know if you know how YouTube got signed.
YouTube? Oh, YouTube, the band.
YouTube.
Sorry.
YouTube.
Yeah.
You know the band YouTube that gave away their album for free and everyone's like, no!
How about no, Scott?
What? How about no, Scott? Look, Dad, I got a gun. It's right in my room. I can just go get it.
How about no, Scott?
Let's see what Nate just said before I tell this story. If there is one thing we can't deny as a Latino, because Nate is not Latino, so if there is one thing we can't deny as a Latino-based community, is that our noble president, Donald J. Trump, is the person who has done the most for it. Anyway, he's making it. That's fun. That's the first thing Nate said to me that made me laugh, and I was like, I like totally have sex with this guy. I would sleep with him. To make love to the hate in him and get it out.
And he'd be like, oh, I feel so much better. Thank you for saving my life, Thomas.
Thanks for changing me from Latino to Lat. You look like a Tino now. As I get done with you, my Minotaur hangout is going to turn you from Latino to Tino.
Even know what that means.
I don't even. That's why it's anyway, what was I start? All right, so YouTube. These mixed YouTube. So when they were first starting out, they had a manager, which was just a guy. He wasn't necessarily. And he was like, you know what we'll do? We'll go to London. There's gonna be this like big show, this big event. And they played a couple shows there, and they're like, we're going to send out the demo to a bunch of labels and tell them to come check you out, blah, blah, blah. And they had to borrow a bunch of money from their friends and family just to get there. And when they got there, their show was horrible, and like everyone was like, no, we pass. And then when they were coming back, their manager's like, let's just do a bigger show. Let's do a 2,000-seat venue. We'll play it at the stadium. And we'll just tell all our friends and family to come. We'll just, please come, just come to the show. We'll just rent out the venue. And we'll just have people show up. And they were able to get 900 people of a 2,000 venue to show up. And one of the guys that was supposed to actually go to one of the other shows where they would have seen a terrible version of YouTube got to go to a stadium filled with all their friends, unbeknownst to that guy. And they were like, after they did the show, they were like, this show, I'm signing you now. This was the greatest show ever. And, eventually they left that label. But that's a crazy 1 in a million experience, right? Especially back then. I mean, the way record labels work back then is a lot different than the record labels work today. But in that situation, someone's going to see that and hear that and be like, oh, I need a manager. I need to rent a huge venue. And I need to ask every single label.
And all my friends to come to every show.
Yeah, to come to let me just rent a huge venue and get there. But to counter that argument, Lorne Michaels really liked Bill Hader. And he says, hey, I want to see you perform in front of a live audience, so put a show together. I'll be out in LA. And, I think I could be a little bit wrong on this. I think Tina Fey might've been someone that was like, hey, Lorne, you got to see Bill Hader or something. I could be wrong on that part.
Basically, he got introduced. He
got introduced. So Lorne went to the show. It was packed out with all Bill Hader's friends. And it was Bill Hader and a couple other people doing improv on the stage. And the crowd went awesome. And then afterwards, Lorne was like, so is all your friends and family? And Bill Hader was like, yeah. And he's like, all right, I'm going to have to see you perform again in front of another, an actual audience. So, being aware of that illusion can also, so it wasn't, there has to be something about that formula for that one moment to work, but that is not a norm. What happened to YouTube is not a norm. And a lot of bands see that and they just see the results. And in my mind, if I discovered
Well,
the process to what happened in that situation,
I think
there would be more involved.
I think a lot of that I think a lot of reasons. Sorry. I think a reason why so many people see that as the quote unquote norm, even though it really isn't, is because there are multiple instances where like it's just like a few bands have had similar opportunities. Like Linkin Park had a very similar opportunity where they I forgot who it was. One of the
Linkin
guys.
Park was put together as an experiment that was like a rock boy band.
Linkin Park.
Yeah.
Their
story, they were if I remember correctly, the I don't know his name, but he's the DJ, the Asian guy.
Yeah.
He's the one I believe who brought it together, right? Correct.
I thought it was Mike Shinoda, who's one of the vocalists, who's also Asian.
I might be getting them confused.
Yes, there's two.
Yeah. One of the Asians.
One of the Asians.
One of the Asians is the guy.
I think Mike does, or I don't know if they're still like formally together at this point, but like he definitely was like one of like the businessy guys.
Yeah, but he brought that together not as a band. It was like a business concept because he was during that time when they came out, like NSYNC and Backstreet and like a bunch of bands like were doing that, and there was a guy who went to jail for it. I believe the fat white guy who stole money from NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. He owned both of them. He also owned
98 Degrees. The other one?
No, the New Kids on the Block.
Oh yeah. Forgot about those bands.
And it just seemed like something. So they were actually like a corporate concept. But anyway, what do you know about them? Because I could be wrong.
Because I think it's Mike, one of the guys from the band.
Yeah.
Was
definitely one of the Asians.
Definitely one of the Asians. Yeah. Was working for, I think it's Warner Brothers that ended up signing them. I forget the label. He was working at the label, and he'd been there for a while and built a bunch of relationships or whatever. And one of the stories is that they ended up convincing one of the guys to basically go to see them perform. And what they did was at the show, they went to all of their friends and were like, come to the show. And then afterwards, we're going to be having like this crazy house party. You know, I forget if it was like later that night or if it was like the next week or whatever. But like, come to the show, save your ticket as proof. Yeah. And you can come to the party.
The after party.
Yeah. So they just got a whole bunch of people to go to the venue so that they go to the party afterwards. And like the place was packed down. It was like all their friends, everyone was like extra excited. So like when they went, when the label rep went there, it was like, oh, you guys are like really good. But that wasn't like their normal things. They were just doing like the regular.
Yeah, that was the result of the events that led to them being signed. But Linkin Park was created as basically a boy band, a rock boy band. There was that guy put that together with that concept in mind. And that's why he was able to package it.
Which makes sense. And why they were able to be so successful.
Yeah.
Because they had that business mindset.
Yeah, I'm not negating your story, but I'm saying that that was not like a band that was kind of like playing around and then they were like, hey, you should. Plus, he used the networking. But in that scenario, they focused the band to be a very specific thing and not necessarily, look at our show. You know, in fact, all their friends were cheering at the show. You know, like they were like, they're a boy band, and that's why.
Ooh, yeah.
But to the evidence of the stories, again, if there are like say, 20 major bands that got signed because of something like that, there's still thousands of bands that didn't. Mm-hmm. And because what we see is a large result of that action, we're not actually seeing the comparison, which is there is a very small percentage of bands.
And it's also a lot of people don't share that like all the lead up beforehand because no one's really paying attention to said band before they actually,
Yeah, no one cares until
they care.
Yeah, once you get once something is thrown in your face enough times, you care about it. It's a numbers game. It's gonna happen. That's why they put a lot of money into advertising, because advertising isn't a bad thing, but there's two ways to go about it. The first one is I got money. If I got money, if I had the money where I knew I could put 10% of my wealth into advertising, I know I'm going to get at least double to triple my return. I just know that's going to happen, right? Because it's
the numbers game.
It's a numbers game. Because if I had $1 million and I put $100,000 into something, I know I'm going to get $200,000 to $300,000 back on my return. I just know I am, especially if I do it properly, like if I do proper advertising. what will happen is that once I'm done with that, I will not continue to make that kind of money because it's advertising.
Yeah, because once you stop,
Yeah,
it goes away.
The other advertising is when you build such a brand value that people want to know you exist, so you spend a small portion of money, which still would probably be 50 to 100, and sometimes in some cases 500 to $1 million, but it's small, like Endgame. You know, and
like people love Marvel.
Yeah,
and they're like, we want to know when the next thing's coming out.
Yeah, but their budget was probably extremely high for marketing, but in a sense, compared to the budget for the film, it was nothing, right? But they made, almost $3 billion. But the idea is, if people want to know you exist, you can do light advertisement, and it just keeps you in the ring. It keeps you in the ring because you want to be seen, be present. But that's different than marketing. Marketing is building a relationship with a brand. But if you have the audience that's interested in you, you've earned the right to advertise. But if you just want to advertise to make money, you need to have the cash. You have to have the capital, and you can't spend capital you don't have. So if I only have $100,000,
you can't spend $100,000.
Yeah, I could spend $10,000 without sweating. I could spend $10,000 without sweating, but because I believe that'd be like what, 10%? Yeah, it's 10%.
And then, in theory, you should be getting back 20 to 30,000.
20 to 30,000.
Because you made back the money that you spent plus the profit.
Yeah, but again, now what do? Do I spend 10,000 again, or do I spend 15,000 or 20,000? And then I try to double, triple that, and I just keep doing that. And obviously, if you have a plan, but what's the problem with advertisement? If you only have a CD or a movie or a book,
yeah.
Now after all that advertisement's done,
you have to start over again.
And now you wait another year or two before the next thing.
And you have to start from scratch.
Yeah, you lost all that. Yeah, so
that's why you have to focus on the overall brand.
That's right. See, it makes sense when I put it into perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Did it aggravate you when I told you that, when you first learned that? That there is a difference between marketing and advertising, and then that advertising is literally a waste of time for little people, not like.
For me, the biggest thing that got me was the fact that my music wasn't the focus. I'm
thank God. I mean, I'm just kidding. No one cares.
Oh
no. I mean, of your music.
You should be a motivational speaker.
Hey, I tried, but they kept killing themselves, so I changed to a psychiatrist. I never got mad because I was like, you know what? I'd sleep with you.
You're like, I'm so in.
Man, what were you saying?
Just the focus wasn't on the focus wasn't on and should not be on music in order for me to find success.
Well, that was the selfish part of it.
Yeah,
it's my music. So.
I also just struggled with why anyone would want to care, why anyone would care about me and my journey.
No one cares about you and your journey, ever. No one in the entire world will ever care about you and your journey. No one cares about Gene Simmons' journey. No one cares about Peter Criss's journey. No one cares about.
Yeah, Peter Criss doesn't care about Peter Criss.
I don't even, which is accurate. And why do you think I say that?
Because people don't care. I don't know.
All right, tell me one thing about Gene Simmons.
He's Israeli.
Do you know why you know he's Israeli?
Because I have looked him up.
Why is that information available?
Because he's made it available.
Why did he make it available?
Because it's part of his brand.
Why is it a part of his brand? Because his mission. He's very supportive of the Israelis. He's very supportive of that heritage. He's very supportive that his mother was a survivor of
the Holocaust.
The Holocaust. So
he's also very vocal about what it was like growing up as a child out there too.
Yeah, he didn't speak English when he first came to America.
He was also a kid too. They were really young.
But all that
didn't they come over here as there was part of the lottery thing that they had?
I don't know how they came over. I just know his father abandoned the family, and he did eventually see his father again. I think they made up, but that was not known when Kiss first came out. That got known more and more and more when Gene's availability to opportunity became something valuable, that he was like, let me use this to bring light to something that's important to me, which then became an extended mission. Because remember, when I talk about brand, you don't have to have all of these missions, ideals, and morals. You can focus them to be certain things. And then as you get bigger and bigger and bigger, you can expand on those, right? So I didn't always support cancer, and not before I got cancer. I supported cancer before I got cancer.
Yeah, you were doing that like when I met you.
Yeah.
Before everything even like happened.
Exactly. So.
And also MS.
And MS, and those weren't things I always focused on. It just over time, it just became a part of my mission, and so anything we know about somebody is because they're choosing to let us know, but it's not necessarily their journey. It's their brand's journey. And
so brand Gene Simmons is not the same as actual Gene Simmons.
Absolutely correct. Yes.
Something Leibowitz or something?
It is Leibowitz. Yeah.
It is definitely something very kosher.
Yeah, he's
my grandmother would be very proud.
It's in the beginning of my self-help book. Actually, it's in the beginning and the end. It says, who is, it says his name. It's not released yet.
No. His name?
Yeah. Oh, wait.
Gene
Nathan, what do you say?
Simmons.
The first thing Thomas told me was to get involved, and I listened.
Gene Klein is his name.
I tell everyone that name. Thank you for that beautiful.
What did he say?
He said the first thing Thomas told me was to get involved, and I listened. Gotta get involved.
You do gotta get involved.
Gotta be involved in the world of music. But so to what you're saying is, you said I never felt comfortable really talking about my adventure,
and that's something that I struggle with today. Like you know, it's something you keep trying to like pound into my head is that like brand JD is not the same as like actual JD.
Yeah, because you in fact by calling yourself JD, you're not branding your real self. Your real name is not JD.
It is not.
Right? Just like my real name is not Thomas.
Thomas.
But I mean, it's a variation on Thomas.
I would laugh if your like real name was like Herschel.
It is Herschel.
Wait, what?
No. It's Herschel. But you're still confusing the representation of your mission, morals, and ideals with what you believe in. And they're not the same. Though you're supposed to believe in your missions, morals, and ideals.
But how I represent those
is completely in your control. There are a lot of things, like there are celebrities that when you find out they're like sex addicts and the cokeheads, you're like, what? What? Them?
Steve from Blue's Clues.
Get it. Steve from Blue's Clues apparently has a sex group, which is funny. Anyway, what did he say? I explored the abandoned hotel where the survivors of the Holocaust stayed when they were interviewed by Steven Spielberg while he was preparing the film Schindler's List.
Oh, wow.
What?
He's at a hotel.
I explored the abandoned hotel. That's interesting. That is interesting. Nate, you had to have been like 2 years old when that movie was being filmed. Anyway.
Also, Gene Simmons' real name is Gene Klein or Heinwitz. Heinwitz.
That's funny.
He's very, very Hebrew. He was born in 1949.
Hebrew. Did you know that I think Paul and Peter might have switched names? I think. So
it's Paul Peter and Peter is Paul?
I think, I forget. I think one of the
That'd be so
the
funny.
people in the band, I think they switched names, like Ace Frehley's real name. Well, Ace Frehley's obviously not his real name, but yeah, I think it's I think the Cat and the Starman, they changed their name if I remember correctly. Did they? What's it say?
Paul Stanley, born Stanley Burt Eisen.
Oh, that's see.
And then was it Peter Chris?
Yeah, Peter Chris. The one I think what's his name?
George Peter John Chris Guola.
Oh, all right. Maybe the story is that he changed his first name and he used Stanley as a. That's funny. Right?
That's really funny.
Stanley's his first name. That's what. Yes,
yeah.
So. Stanley. Who's Paul again? Maybe Ace Frehley's real name. Go to Ace Frehley's real name.
That's fine.
Because I remember this story. What is it?
Yeah, his real name is Paul.
Yeah, that's
Paul.
it. Yeah. I knew it. I knew that they switched it.
It's really funny.
That's so. See the stuff I remember? Crazy. But again, brand versus their real life. We only know this because they became icons, and over the years they let down the curtain more and more and more and more. And obviously, the internet changes everything. The hotel is now. Oh, let's put it on. The hotel is now abandoned. Part 1 of the video is on my channel. Part 2 will be out Tuesday.
Ooh.
Is there only a part 1 and part 2? Because I'll just wait till part 2 comes out and then I'll watch it in one big burst. That's what I'm gonna do.
Also, you should give us a link so we can.
Yeah, put the link on there, buddy. Just put the link in the comments. We don't care. Yeah, we'll delete it later. However, people believe you're never a true representation of yourself, and you should never be. Even a publicist or a PR company would tell you, keep your private life private. Yeah,
because whatever you're putting out as an entertainer, whatever you're putting out is part of you being an entertainer, even if it's just on social media, if it's interviews, if it's any kind of media outlet, it's still part of the act. It's part of the entertaining.
Yeah,
you can be personable, you can be like relatable, but what you keep saying is you choose to represent what you want to represent.
Yeah, like I'll never talk about my religion on a show. Like I'll never be like, yeah, let's get into it. But I will talk about religion
in general.
And the same thing in politics. I'll never be like, this is my stance on politics, but I'll be happy to talk about politics.
So we'll never mention the cyborg Buddha you have.
Yeah, never. But like Robert Downey Jr., we know about his dirty past. We know his problem with the law. We know he was in jail. We know about
he fought the law and the law won.
He fought the law and the law won. But he doesn't really allow that to be a part of his current story. He doesn't talk about it. It's not like there's a lot involved in what he represents as an individual. So when you struggle with that moment, you're not even thinking, you're no longer thinking of yourself as a business. You're thinking of yourself as you, which is selfish. It's a selfish act to believe like, this is my life. I can't talk about my life. Instead of going, wait a minute, it isn't my life. I have a business. It's like Walmart. You think Sam Walton, as much as his face was shown along with the, like when you go to the company, it says Sam Walton as a plaque. You think
Sam Walton, Mark?
Sam Walton. No, it's Walton. His last name's Walton.
Is it?
Sam Walton.
I have no idea.
You don't. This guy. And also, he was an avid camper in all WalMarts and Sam clubs. Or campground.
Fun fact: a lot of tour, a lot of bands on tour will just hang out and camp, quote unquote, in a Walmart parking lot, especially if it's 24 hours, so you can just go in and get whatever you need.
It's a normal thing. It's a normal thing.
Wikipedia.
Sam Walton. How do you not know this?
Because I don't.
He started a little tiny mom and pop shop, and they had folding tables. Was like.
Oh, here we go. Sam Walton.
Same. Tell me.
What?
You don't know?
Born in 1918.
Yeah, he's an old guy.
Died in 1992.
Yeah.
He also started Sam's Club. You
didn't know that?
I did not.
Oh my God, this guy.
Wow. Look at that.
You didn't know that? You thought Sam's Club was not part of Walmart, even though it used to say Walmart Sam's Club.
I don't remember
ever
seeing
that. Walt Sam Club, and then it just said Sam's Club.
I don't remember ever seeing that.
Well, you're a young guy.
The only Sam's Club I ever.
How old were you in '92?
4.
and 98?
10? Yeah, 10.
Yeah, that's why you don't remember.
At that point, I was barely walking the first time.
I worked for Sam's Club, so I know.
Oh yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I've never worked for Sam's Club.
I was already 17, 18 when I worked there, and you weren't even old enough to be acknowledged.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles.
I'm 10. That means I just got my big boy pants. Yeah, Mom, is this a Minotaur or that? That's an ant. Mom might sleep with our neighbor. Yeah, that's good, son. Why don't you go tell her? No, he's not my type. So I won't sleep with him. But I would. I just want it out there on the energy.
I was a weird child.
You were a weird child. I have to tell you, that's why I left your mom. But anyway, so actually, I could probably be your father.
Were you able to reproduce at the age of 10?
Yeah, I had balls.
Did they make anything?
Let me see.
Sam Walton in high school.
I-
He had to wear one of those like business suits, basically. That's how old he is.
Yeah, it's because he was in probably Catholic school or something. What school is it?
I don't know.
Look at him. Look at him looking up information. No one cares about that.
I mean, I care now.
You didn't know? I can't believe you didn't. The stuff
didn't
you
know.
don't know blows my mind.
Surprise.
But the reason I know it is because I grew up in a world where there was no computers. So we had to just absorb data.
And hold it.
Yeah. I grew up in a time where we would read the backs of shampoo bottles because we had no phones to play with.
While you were doing your duty.
I grew up in a time where we didn't even have Game Boy right away. Okay. Where I had to read the shampoo and the conditioner.
No, we definitely had Game Boy.
Yeah, I know you had colored Game Boy.
No, we did have color Game Boy. We had Game Gear,
Oh my god, I hate you.
where it was like actual TV screen.
What was your first?
Even though the box was like this.
What was your
big.
first home console?
Super Nintendo. My first home console was I graduated kindergarten and my aunt sent me Super Nintendo with the Aladdin video game. That was the very first video game I ever had.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Do you know what an Atari is, or a Coleco, or like a?
Yes, because
Do
after
you know what
I
Pong is?
yeah, no, I had a ColecoVision actually.
Yeah, but it's somebody else's.
It was my dad's.
Yeah.
But oddly enough, he didn't break that out until the Super Nintendo. Oh no, that thing definitely was not fragile.
The controller's were.
And the little side squeezy
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Oh no, that's Coleco.
Yeah, it's a ColecoVision.
Oh yeah, because the Atari
Oh, yeah,
had
that
the,
thing.
like the stick one. You know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that thing was
That's
definitely.
how you'd like.
The
run it.
ColecoVision was like a brick.
Yeah, that's where they came up with the smaller.
Yeah, the little like circular thing.
Yeah, that's a whole different.
Yeah, we had that. Oh, my dad had that.
Do you remember the Commodore 64?
No, I
Commodore 128?
Nope.
The Commodore Amiga?
never had any Commodores in my house.
Did you ever have a computer?
Yeah, an Apple II.
Oh, that's why you
I
guys
think
weren't
was the
into
first-
actual computers.
Yeah, no, that was also
We got an Apple II.
a
You know what we
gift.
could do with this?
that was also a gift from my aunt.
Oh, that makes sense.
I think I was going into first grade. She's like, here you go, have a computer so you can actually do stuff. And then my dad's like, oh, computer. And my dad went down the computer hole.
Yeah, he's like, let me see what this is about. And then like, it holds cups up because it's an apple, and it's useless. Name one useful apple.
I mean, every apple that,
No, they all poisonous to me. I don't like them.
well, for you,
Maybe you.
don't eat the computer.
Well,
You're allergic.
I think everyone's allergic to eating a computer.
Maybe you. According to you, I got a dog stomach. I know several dogs that have eaten full couches and tin cans.
That's why I said you have a dog stomach. Oh, I see what you did there.
Full circle.
But would you sleep? All right.
Twice.
If you had to sleep with your mom or your aunt, who would you choose?
Death.
I didn't even say death was on the table. We had a rush.
We only had 3 beds. We weren't expecting so much.
Who would I sleep with? Kill myself. Yeah, but would you think about it? No, I would just jump right off the cliff.
Like,
No, I mean about the sex.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd be focused. Sort of like as you said it, I would already be focused on how I'm gonna die. You know, car? No, I might live.
How
And then
high
walk
up
over.
are we on?
Yeah.
We're at least 4 stories.
Let's see. I'm only 1 foot tall. I could jump off a chair. How tall were you when you realized you were short?
When I went into first grade, probably, I was like, oh, I am definitely not tall.
Yeah, but first grade, you're not even fully grown yet.
I was always shorter than everybody.
Get out of here. Were you like a hey? You know,
I still have a hey.
If you ba-da-ba-da-boo.
I did have a slight orange complexion as a child.
Did you walk in? Oompa, loompa, oompa-dee-doo.
Probably.
I would
At least
sleep-
once.
I would sleep with her, but definitely not you. Oompa, oompa, oompa-dee-doo. I've got not a minute or two.
What does a Minotaur pool look like? I imagine a lot of human bones.
You are short. You cannot play on me. I always thought I was short, and then I realized I was above average, and then I realized I was not. I was just average. It's just I got there quicker than everyone else in my class because I got left back twice. And not because I was stupid, it's because we moved so much. I literally was I was in 4th grade when I should have been in like 6th at this point.
So then, what was the most you ever moved in 1 year?
Maybe 3 times.
Jesus.
And what's funny is it was around the block. And there was one time I moved around the block, and I was literally in a different school district.
Oh God, that's so dumb.
Yeah, I was in a different school every year of my life.
Really?
Yeah, I may have gone to a school a second time,
But not consecutive.
but not consecutively. And by saying that, I only mean the district, because I was in Longwood High School. I mean junior high. I went to Sachem for high school, and then I went back to Longwood for another year in high school. Then I went to Barron Carler for a year in high school. Then I went to Dunedin for my last year in high school.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It is pretty insane. I was in William Floyd. I was in Dayton. I was in South Street. I was in a lot of schools. I was in some place in Ocala for like 4th grade.
Oh yeah. So you guys are in Florida.
Yeah. And then, because I did 4th grade in New York, 4th grade in Florida. And then I did, I did 4th grade in Ocala. Then my dad took me out of school halfway, and then I finished school 4th grade in New York. So I had to redo 4th grade. So I finished, I was like, just start me at the beginning. Like, why am I doing it? And then that year I was in South Street for 4th grade. Oh, and then I did Dayton. I did 5th and 6th in Dayton. That's the only school I ever did 2 years.
Oh wow. That is insane.
Yeah, and everything else is. Yeah, but I'm good at making friends because I hate everyone. So I'm like, oh, I won't have to see you again.
You're like, haha.
Let's hang out until I don't need you anymore.
Bye.
Next. Turning Tom into a sociopath.
That happens to care about people.
Oh yeah, I learned that. I went to therapy. I figured out how to be empathetic. Oh, your dog died? That's terrible. Tell me about it. You know, kill you, eat you. If you had to be a serial killer, would you be
I would definitely
eat the
kill
person or
the Tricks rabbit.
No.
Oh, sorry. Different question.
If you were going to be a serial killer, would your MO be A, you eat the people, B, you have sex with their dead bodies, okay, or C, you were a child rapist, but you killed them, and then you not only did you have sex with the child body, but you ate it.
I'm gonna go with the cooking one.
So
The first one.
So what you're saying is you've thought about this.
I mean, right now, yes.
See, so you look at people, you go, look, I'm not a pervert. I'm not thinking I would sleep with them, but I would
Just like-
definitely eat that one.
Yeah, that would go good with barbecue sauce.
You think you'd be like an eating serial killer and not a like have sex with the dead body?
Yeah, no, food's way too important to me.
Is it
As a
because you have an
person.
penis?
That's mostly because of the penis. And it's just like there's so much effort. Whereas I could just be like,
If I had
Put
a
on the
minotaur
grill.
penis,
the grill does
I would.
most of the work.
That's wait what? Hey, by the way, where does the responsibility of sexual pleasure begin?
What do you mean? Like,
Well, you not even know the answer. Where does the responsibility of sexual pleasure begin?
as long as everyone, it's like both parties are communicating,
That is not the answer.
then I got no answer for
So
it.
you're saying it begins with communication. What are you communicating?
Well, I guess you have to communicate.
But what are you communicating? What if it begins with communication? According to you, this is an incorrect answer. But if it begins with communication with the other person, what do you talk about?
Well, imagine it's, well, it wouldn't be this direct, but it'd be like, you interested? Yes. You interested? Yes.
Well, how
And
do
then
you
go from
how do
there.
you know you're interested in something?
I guess physical attraction, intellectual attraction.
Oh, so sex is about being attractive. It's not about physical.
Imagine being attracted to someone
It's not
Physically.
physical.
and
Oh well, all right.
intellectually it comes into play.
But does that have to do with sex?
No.
So I ask again, where does the responsibility begin?
I don't have an answer because I don't know.
It begins with yourself and before you meet someone.
Ooh.
If you know what you like, then you can actually communicate. But if you don't know what you like or the reason why you like it, then there's nowhere to communicate. And a lot of times people get together, they'll have the conversation, but they really won't know what their needs are. And then they rely the needs to be enforced by the other person. So i.e. a lot of times a guy feels it's their responsibility to please the woman. Sometimes a woman feels they should please the guy. And other times it's like, well, what do we even do? What do I like? What do I don't like? I'm nervous to tell somebody what I like. So I'm just going to follow their lead and see where they go. And if they do something I don't like, I'll just say I don't like that. But the responsibility actually falls on you before you even reach that point.
Which makes sense.
You didn't know that?
Now that you put it that way, then now, yeah.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
You're correct. I didn't know.
So when you meet somebody, do you have those conversations where you're like, I know exactly what my needs are? Or do you put the responsibility on you? Like it's your responsibility to please that woman? Because I know you can have sex 30 times in a night, but like do you
within 15 minutes.
I have an erection for 20 minutes, give or take a day. You should go to a doctor. No, he has nothing to do with it. I can keep it going myself. I don't need an extra hand. I wouldn't even sleep with him. I'm not attracted to him.
I mean, he does Viagra pills.
When I see my dog, I go, whoop, it goes right back down.
No, he's anti-Viagra.
Yeah, I see him, I go, eh. He sees me, he goes, I'm not gay.
It's a great conversation.
Do you have these in-depth conversations, or you just kind of like, what I'm saying is, do you feel the pressure of like it's on you for the responsibility of pleasing a woman?
I want to be able to please them, but I do have these conversations beforehand.
Yeah, but wanting to please someone is putting the responsibility on you. I want to please you it's now your responsibility. Instead of thinking, by the way, this is changing your brain for being successful, is the same thing as you're saying, I want to please you, which by the way is a selfish thought.
Oh.
Because I want to please you. That's about you winning or you having some value because you please them. Wanting them to be pleased is a different statement than I want to please them. However, the conversation should be around the concept of how do we please one another? How do we enjoy this moment together?
How do we work together, grow together, and literally
rise together? Well, if she's rising, I think you should really see it back. But do you see that mental, that like, do you see how like we look at things in a selfish way? It's about how I want to please her. And you know, artists do it all the time. How do I get involved in this project? How do I get the role? How do I get people to read my book? How do I get people to listen to my music? Right? I want people to enjoy my thing, you know, put thing here, like song, book, whatever. I want people to enjoy the thing I make. That's selfish. It doesn't sound selfish for someone who thinks like that, but you're thinking about you first. And I know some people say, well, you're supposed to think about you first, but your success has nothing to do with you. It has to do with everybody around you. Audiences buy your stuff. That
you don't buy your own stuff.
With you.
Well, most of the time.
Yeah. I want people to like what I make. Well, no one's going to like it then. How do I connect with that? How do I connect with that foundation of emotional choice? It's the same thing when making love to somebody. How do I connect with somebody else if all I'm thinking of is I want to please them? I want the satisfaction that I did it so they are pleased.
You're focusing on the thing, not the actual connection.
That's right. Thing? You see? Thing? See, I made it all about the same subject. You like that?
You know what? You should be a play again.
Oh yeah.
I'm just waiting for it to explode. Oh yeah, it's everywhere. Hold quick at the mentals.
See, this is, by the way, listening to the show, you're hearing how my brain works, like how I break up the reality of process.
And the process is the same, literally, for most things.
No, it's the same for everything. Anything you want to do in this life, it's the same.
So how does it apply to making, like, cooking something?
Well, go ahead. When you cook, do you cook because you want somebody to enjoy your food?
If I'm by myself, I cook because I want to enjoy the food.
What did you just say?
If I'm by myself, I want to enjoy the food.
So what did you just say?
I want to enjoy the food.
I want to enjoy the food.
If no one else is eating it, I'm not going to cook it.
Doesn't matter. It's still, you're not changing your brain. It's still on you.
Oh, so then if I was cooking for myself, how would I change my brain to think about wanting to enjoy the food?
It's time to eat. Because you're placing the power on I, it's selfish. It's about your needs and not necessarily, you know, you have to eat, but I want to enjoy this food, right? I know you should want to enjoy what you're doing. You should be happy. Like, that's not what this conversation is. It's about changing your perspective. If you can change your perspective to not being about you, you can find more clarity in the things you do with others.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Because everyone has things that they need to do, and if you need to do stuff, you should at least enjoy doing the thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
But the perspective you have shouldn't just be about just you doing the thing.
That's right.
Or you having pleasure from that thing.
Like, how are you enjoying the meal I made? I made this meal. Enjoy it. Or, I'm going to cook for everybody. These are all selfish perspectives. They're not bad perspectives.
Because the intention is not necessarily selfish. Like someone can genuinely want to be like, oh, I want to do this for people because I want to see them happy. But that perspective of them saying I is what makes it selfish.
Yeah, I mean, it is selfish to want to please people. I want to please people is a selfish act. You're only enjoying it. Like you're doing it so you can feel those serotonin that, oh, if I do this, I will feel better. Selflessness is about doing things just for the greater good or the greater quality of life. But if you're doing it because it makes you feel good, you're doing it for yourself, not others.
Mm.
I like being creative with other people. Well, that means you're being creative with other people because it makes you feel good. You're not necessarily doing it for the greater good of that exercise or that object of effort.
So then when is something fully selfless? So like say, is it when someone does not enjoy doing something and they still...
You can enjoy it, but it's the way you enjoy it. I like doing this, so you're going to do it. Or I had fun today. How about we did great, guys? Or this was an amazing team effort. Do you see the change? It's the verbiage and is a different.
You're saying the perspective.
Yeah, but if your perspective is about how you feel for it, it's selfish. You can enjoy working on it. There's no ill will to that.
But the perspective that you express,
yeah,
and think.
Like how you talk to yourself, like we did good today is different than I did good.
It's really crazy, like how we talk to ourselves affects how we interact with the world and how we even think. And it's crazy because it's so it happens so much that it just becomes like a minute thing that we don't even think about.
When some people help someone else, in their mind, they're like, oh, I have no problem helping people. I have no problem helping people. But a lot of the stuff that changed when I began that alteration, that change of mind, it started going, if I'm going to do this, how does it affect everybody else?
So who was it or what was it that got you to focus on the things that you were saying and how you were saying it and noticing that perspective? It's you.
Yeah.
So then,
because I studied psychology and I studied the human behavior and tact.
So was it like something specific that you were studying, or is it like a specific event that you were like, oh, I'm doing this?
People. I'm studying people. I still study people today. I study you right now. I'm studying you. I'm studying how Nate is interacting. I'm studying how people comment. I'm studying how I make people laugh when I don't make people laugh. Like, it's crazy when people don't laugh at my jokes, and I go, all right, I understand this person almost completely. Why they didn't laugh makes sense to me, and or why they did laugh makes sense to me. Why people get uncomfortable makes sense to me, So human behavior is ultimately what made me want to reflect, because for me to be everything I want to see in the world, I have to behave that way.
You have to be the change you want to see.
Yeah, so I can't ask you to be different than you are. It's just, I have no power over that. But I have the power to be influential in my actions, meaning if I behave a certain way, which is different than someone saying, what are your thoughts on the song? Or, can you give me some advice on it? That's different.
Yeah, that's having a conversation.
Well, you're asking for the critique, which is funny because, what are your thoughts on this is like the words I dread the most, because I don't like anything. I don't even like my own stuff. I just enjoy creating things, and I go, it's good because I made it. You know how hard it is to make something? It's extremely hard, but it doesn't necessarily mean, I'm like, this is the best stuff since sliced bread. I'll never think.
You mean since Betty White?
Since Betty, because she was
older than.
She is a nice slice of bread.
Well, agreed.
But I just creatively, everything I hear, I have a strong opinion on, because I see greater potential in people. Like when you write, I'm like, he's better than that. I'm like,
And
this
you
is
also
terrible.
you also like, are very analytical. Like even when you're being creative, so like I think it's a very I think you have a very unique perspective when being creative because I know so many people, myself included, where it's like in the creative process, like everything just turns off and it's just like you just have like blinders on and it's like like that's whatever it is you're working on in the moment is like your be all end all. It's like your magnum opus, and until you come up with the next thing that you love, like you have said, that you love the creative process, but at the same time you're always very analytical. You're like, this this has to go here, this has to be next. Like you're able to see things logically but also passionately at the same time.
Yeah, but I don't think like that though. Like I'm never in the moment.
Yeah, it's like it's a natural thing. It's what I'm saying, and it's like it's very unique, and you're probably the only person I've ever met that has that that perspective. People that I've met personally that do have the ability to be analytical still do it after the creative passion is
they'll listen to it or watch it or
so they'll just be like, okay, creative flow, all right, creativity is like blocked. I can come back and I like look at it from like a logical perspective and then adjust and clean up as is. Where you are like, I've literally seen you do stuff, you're like you're like no, but like you still have like this look and this air about you where like you're still in the creative process but you're still looking at things like logically.
Well, I mean, like when I write, like rarely do I go back and go, let me clean this up.
Except if you're taking something that you wrote when you were like 18.
Yeah, because I'll have different perspectives in life. And it's not that it wasn't good when I wrote it, it's that I have a different viewpoint on it. But I still remember to this day when MGM was like, how long did it take you to
write this?
to write this and get it to such a good, it's basically ready to film. I go 2 weeks. 2 weeks? I was like, yeah, the first week I wrote it. The second week I let it like sit. Like what? And then I read it again and it still felt good, so I sent it in. Like, there's no way you wrote this in 2 weeks. I go,
technically a week.
I was like, yeah. I was like, you're right. There is no way I wrote it in 2 weeks. But that's because I see final products in my head. But that doesn't necessarily mean I'm not willing to change things. Like I might get to the end and be like, I like this, but I think I can say something else. I think there's something else I could do to this, which is different than it wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
And
where it's like you ended up like in a different spot than you expected. It's just but you're still able to have that distinction.
Yeah, if you can't kill your babies, as it's known, like when I write music or anything, if you can't kill your babies, you're not a good creator. Like if it's hard for you to change something, you are a terrible creator. And the reason is because you're not willing to be moved by objectivity. Like if
you're not willing to be creative,
you're not being creative. Making something is not as creative as letting it become something. Because it's like, like Michelangelo, if he was making a statue and he gets to a point where like for some reason a chunk of the stone fell off where he was going to make it, and then he goes, you know what, I'll throw this out and I'll make a new thing. He wouldn't be Michelangelo. He wouldn't have learned how to manipulate stone the way he did if every time something got sloppy, he was like,
well, I gotta adjust now.
Like there was this guy in one of my art classes when I
was his name Bert?
No, it was actually Juan.
Juan. That's Jewish for Juan.
Yeah, spelled Joan or something, if I remember correctly. But anyway, and he was Jewish, but he was adopted, so he was actually like a 6'7" Puerto Rican, which was funny, or Colombian, one of the two. It doesn't matter.
That's really tall.
Anyway, he was an amazing. He was a fantastic artist. He's also a child molester now. He went to jail for it with his wife. But anyway.
Whoa.
Yeah, that escalated. That's a true story. And that guy said I was going to go to hell because I didn't believe in Jesus Christ as my savior. I like to just put that on the table too. That's a true fact. Anyway, so this pig was an amazing artist, though. Like, if you look at him like who he is as a creature, you'd be like, this is a disgusting man. But then you'd see his art and just be like he could draw. Like, oh, look, he does the moonwalk. That's what it was like, he's a child molester, but did you see the moonwalk? But that doesn't justify his actions. But he would draw things like for you or I that if we drew them, we'd be like, this is our masterpiece. And he would draw it and he would be like, no, I don't like that. And he would just crumple it up and throw it out and we'd start over. Right? And to me, as good of an artist as he was, I don't think he was creative. And the reason is because if I had messed up.
So basically you're saying he was like a living camera. He'd be like,
No. I mean, no, he drew original pieces.
Oh, okay.
Like he drew but it was all comic book stuff. Not that denounced it, because comic book styles is really it's his thing. Yeah. But he would draw like a Wolverine and be like, I don't like the leg. And throw it out. I'm like,
yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, but I would, if I drew that and I didn't like the leg, I would just keep working on it until I adjust
Got
it.
the leg.
Or maybe draw something over it, or
Give him a peg leg.
give him a peg. Wolverine with a peg. I would keep going, and that effort. And now we're talking about craft, not really success in that. But that effort made me better at drawing.
Well, it's also it relates to the business aspect, because it changes. It's the mindset in which you're going in. You're not just it's not an all or nothing thing. You're showing that you're willing to
that you're malleable.
Yeah, you're willing to work and adapt and learn what you need to learn, instead of just going, I can't do this, let me do something else.
Yeah, because when you're working with a team, you have to be able to listen. But a good leader listens and then still stands by the direction. So if I was like, this is what we're doing, and then like say you came in and go, I have some ideas, I would listen to those ideas, and if they worked well, I would adjust the mission. However, there is a difference between me having a mission as the leader, and then my team. I think we talked about this once before. And the people on my team come in, and their ideas have nothing to do with the end result. They're just ideas, and you're not helping to elevate the mission idea.
It's like arbitrary example. It's like, all right, we're gonna make a burger chain, and then they're like, why don't we just do a series of laundromats?
Why don't we have laundromats in the burger place?
It's like they'll just leave the soggy fries.
I know, but that sounds like a good idea. Yeah, well, it's like the McDonald's story. It was like the McDonald's. It should be a hamburger, fries, and drink. There's no chicken. There's no this in the beginning. Like it's just these three things. And people will come in and be like, no, we're gonna have cornbread. We're gonna have all. It's like, no, that's not what this restaurant's about. It's about because McDonald's concept was twofold. What is the highest selling items? It'd be soda. The hamburger and the fries. And then it also created forced choicing. In fact, if I remember correctly, McDonald's invented the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 menu.
Oh yeah, like the number menu, which makes sense.
Yeah, so you'd come in, you go, give me a 3, not, hey, can I get 2 hamburgers, fries, and
yeah, because the idea was to make it as quick as possible. Hence, pioneering the whole fast food thing.
Yeah, but the forced choicing was a part of it. What do you want? You're here for an order? Yeah. All right. Do you want a soda? No. All right. Hamburger, fries. Anyway. So creatively, but I also hear, see, and feel things differently because I'm writing like when I write a guitar part, I'm not just playing the guitar.
You're hearing all the other instruments in your head, including all the strings.
Yeah. No string. But like when I listen to you play, like I literally go into an anxiety attack because I just want to grab the instrument and be like, what? No, you got to do this. But like doing that isn't necessarily you writing the song, but you don't practice writing, you just write. And I think that's where we differ is I practice writing and I studied music and I studied theory and I studied like we had this really funny moment where I go, what are the note values in Master of Puppets? And JD's like, obviously 16ths.
They're all like 64th notes.
Yeah, and I was like, what? But the best was you believed you were right.
Yeah, I did.
And I was like, they are 8th notes. And you're like, there's no way they're 8th notes.
I was like, they're too fast. And then you're like,
so I pulled out my tab book.
Which happened to be for the album Master of Puppets.
And I was like, what are these? And he's like,
oh.
That must have blew your mind.
It did.
And that everything we've ever talked about musically, you were like, all right, maybe I should listen to them when it comes to the values of notes. Because being able to play something is not the same as understanding music.
I 100% agree with that.
But, my area of expertise is...
Understanding?
Yeah, well, I just study. If I'm going to do something, I study it. Like, I just, and I think that runs in my family because my brother does it too. But...
that makes sense.
But
then you also have like a series of like business owners and like your family that go back to the old Country.
Yeah, but wait, Sicily. I'm just talking creatively. Like if you become like my one, we called him Uncle Anthony, but he's really my father's cousin. But my father also called him Uncle Anthony.
That's funny. Was he like significantly older than your dad?
Yeah, by a lot.
Uncle Anthony.
Uncle Anthony.
Hey, old.
Hey.
Goodbye.
But he was like he was a genius beyond the word genius. You know, he like invented. He took computers to the next level. He worked on the spaceship that landed on the moon. Like he also did secret missions for the government. Like they would send them like top secret stuff, and he would figure out these formulas and like what. It was just crazy. Like when he died, they found so much stuff.
They're like, oh my god.
They were just like, this guy's holy shit. But he was obsessive with learning whatever he was learning.
And understanding.
But, you know, everyone in my family, in a sense, does that too.
It's the Beleza curse.
It is. No, the
Beleza curse.
Yeah, the actual Beleza curse is the Minotaur.
Complete with holes.
And the ladies love us. But anyway, so so when I hear you writing, like you're not, to me, this is not an insult, but when I hear you writing, I don't hear you actually writing. You're not writing to me. You're just playing until it sounds good. And you're like, this part works, and this part works, and this part works. And all I'm hearing is like, none of it works. Because you're like, you know, like, here's a part. You know, and then you're like, all right, here's another part. And then you're like, oh. And you're like, this is awesome. I'll double that up. And then it goes back to, and you're like, but I like that.
I feel like,
and I'm like, what the hell's he doing over there? Stop! Stop, for the love of God! Whatever you're doing over there, just kill yourself.
I can't take anymore.
He doesn't even know what he's doing.
Go in another room.
Just play someone else's music. Stop. But you do write like you write good riffs and stuff. But like I think the composition of the songs, because that's the real writing. Like anyway,
just the composition and the arrangement.
Yeah. But, it is funny though. Like he was supposed to write the JD. I don't know if you know. I once asked JD if he could write. I believe it was 6 albums.
6? It was 2.
No. You brought it down to 2. It was originally.
I thought it was 1, and I brought it up to 2.
No, I'm telling you, it was not, because it was something I was obsessing over for quite some time after we had the conversation.
Then it was 6 that got brought down to 2.
It was 6 full albums, and it wasn't originally half the value of the album. It was 6 full albums. Can you write 6 full albums with all good songs? Because you believe you could write good songs, and I was like, I don't know if you could write 6 albums. And you're like, yes, I could. And I was like, in 2 months, and you're like, absolutely. And then I was like, out of the benefit of the doubt, let's just do 2 albums. And then you brought up all right, but like, how about if the majority you brought up the majority of songs were good? And I was like, what?
I think you said good albums, so I think I asked for clarification as to what a good album would entail. Do they all have to be, or is it majority?
Yeah, but that made sense. I was like, fine, majority. So we were like, if there are 8 songs in each album, that means 5 songs minimum. So 10 songs. So
good songs. Can
you write 10 good songs in 2 months? And you're like, absolutely. So then he starts working on 1 song. and he's like, he's playing, and I go, is that the good song? And he's like, yeah. I was like, good luck. And then the next thing he's playing, I was like, what? You changed that a little bit. He's like, yeah. I was like, you took that whole part out? He goes, yeah. I go, what if that wasn't the good part? And I'm just messing with you, man. And you're like, I didn't like it. I was like, you gave up on that song, right?
No, it's still safe.
No, but I mean, like, you gave up on the 2 months thing.
Oh yeah.
So you admit though now, creatively, it would be very difficult to write 2 albums, 10 songs. Well, it would have to be 16 songs, but 10 would be good.
Yes.
So that means you would still have to focus on 16 songs.
In order to get the majority of 10.
Yeah, which means that you would have to be trying to write 16 good songs, not, all right, I'll write 10 good songs and I'll throw on some fillers. Like you would have to, for the majority.
I would have to focus on getting 16 good songs.
songs. Into, so you know you can't do that.
Yes, I know that I cannot do that.
What can't you do? Say just.
I know that I cannot write 2 good albums within 2 months.
All right, good. What made you believe you could? That was the part that I was obsessing over, because I couldn't understand it because there was not enough data to make that statement accurate. You know what I'm saying? Like my autistic brain is just like, you can't do that. And I'm sitting up at night, put 7 and 3. If you put 4, like, just time. It's not enough time. He sleeps on average.
So you're saying anytime we have a conversation, at the end of the day, that's why you come in first thing next morning on the same subject.
Yeah,
I'm like,
absolutely.
Wait, that's right. I forgot we had this conversation.
It was like when I proved in my head the definitive example of what makes an opera versus a musical, and I went into an obsessive deep dive search for that, and I proved that.
Did you like stay up half the night trying to find that?
Now 2 hours it took. 2 hours it took. But
the fact that it still took 2 hours after I had left.
Yeah, but that's because I was able to focus, and I literally I absorbed it. But the truth of the matter is that just as a justification, there are too many variables that make an opera or a musical that actually overlap one another. But it's intent. It came down to intent. If I am intending to write an opera, it is an opera.
If you're intending to write a musical,
it is a musical. And because there are a very few select operas that have choreography and dancing and dialogue, and they're actually like they're called something. They're just spoken little parts in operas, but they do still categorize. They would categorize as a musical, but they are not a musical, and vice versa. Whereas Les Mis, as you pointed out, could be classified as an opera, but because it was intended to be a musical, it is not an opera. However, operas existed before musicals, and musicals are a variation on an opera because they were trying to change the entertainment aspect of it. They wanted to be more involved and have like more changing scenes and more. So
they were evolving the opera basically.
It turned
into musicals.
Yeah, as my research shows,
all the overlapping.
Yes. The musical, a Broadway musical, would be the same as heavy metal to blues.
I see what you're saying.
So they are not the same, but they have similar qualities. But you could ultimately say a metal song is a blues song.
Like Black Sabbath.
Like some right? So the intent is I'm intending to write blues music, but that doesn't mean that you can't put heavy metal aspect into that blues song.
Or vice versa.
Or vice versa. So that was what I discovered, which, by the way, I think I told you, there are theses written on the argument that
I have expected you to have like an entire spreadsheet.
Dude, I had to stop myself. I was getting ready to. You were going to come. The whiteboard was going to be erased. And
we have 2.
This was before we had this one, but I was literally. Oh, maybe we had this one.
Yeah, but we definitely have had the second one.
I'll be honest. I was going to. You were going to come down and be like, "Crap."
I was like, what did I get myself?
You're like, well, all right.
We're not working for a good 3 hours today. We can make my coffee. We can begin.
What people aren't really understanding is when JD says come down, I have just woken up and I'm in full debate mode. Like my brain is coherent. It's comprehensible.
But you specifically take the time to lay in bed until you are fully awake. Or until the dog's like, Dad, I gotta pee.
If the dog really has to pee, I'll get up. But my brain is always like in constant. It's hard to shut up. But anyway, that's how obsessive I get. It isn't obsessive to be right. It was that what you said. No, it's because what you said didn't make any logical sense. Because it was anything that seems absolute to me doesn't make sense. And your absolute was this is what an opera is, and that was where my brain was like that's not true. Like, and that's where because it was an inaccurate statement, even though you read the definition. That did not define an opera as an opera. It defined that it was just saying an opera is this thing. But with that
there
said,
are other variables that go into
making an opera
or a musical.
Or a musical, you know, so like, but for you, and JD has to deal with this all the time. He'll say something, I'm like, are you telling me that blah, 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 blah? And you're like, it's right there, dude, on Wikipedia. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, my brain is in like overload because like I'm having this meltdown in my head because I know
you don't like absolutes.
Yeah, but what was like when we realized what that argument is about your voice changing, and I got so mad because I put so much energy, and you're like, you know, on a molecular structure, and I was like, that's your definition of change? Was just like a slight isotope of movement, and you're like, yeah, and I was like, you need to define it. I'm thinking change like it's visibly different.
Like that literally went on for like 2 days.
Yeah, even after the radio show was over, it was still going on. But the problem was
we're trying to eat food, and he's like going on about it. I'm like, I can't even. I literally can't talk
because you were in my mind. You were 100% wrong, but based on what you define change as, you were 100% right. But so, we were using the
two different definitions.
No, we were using the metrics of change differently. You were using the metrics of change of like, let's say I go like this with my hands. Technically, I am now changed because the dust of my skin has been removed from my body. That's literally
assuming you have skin.
That's that's literally what you defined as change. Like, you know, like I go like, because you know that skin comes off your hand. So I am literally changing my form right now because skin. But in my head, change was it had to be a drastic change.
Like something like this.
Like if I got my hand cut off or a finger cut off, I have now physically changed. But JD in his mind was believing, which is true, that it was just. But my brain couldn't comprehend what you were saying because
you were expecting it to be a drastic change.
Yeah. Like which the word is defined as is that it is a change in completion. But like you like let's say there was a white wall and like you went there in the corner and you just made like a tiny little black dot in the shadow of existence and you're like, this is no longer a white wall. And you're like, what? It's a dotted wall. You're like, it's not a dotted wall. And they go, it's a dot. And he's like, this is not a dotted wall because it's not intended to be, and it's hidden. You know. Anyway, so that's why my brain does that. But anyway, back to your writing. So like when you write, you write, and my brain is just.
I write with dots.
You're not.
It's a series of dots.
I'm like, what is he doing over there?
Morse code.
Sometimes it sounds like I can tell when you like a riff though because you multiply it. I'm like, oh, he likes it, and then you'll just like play over it. You'll just like,
and then you're like, oh my god.
I'm like, what? Does he use this thing in every song? I think you're looking for something to use that in, and that's why you try it on everything. I worked so hard in cleaning this up that I need it in every song.
Listen, there's a lot of money that went into that polish.
Oh, Jesus. Do you try to change things up, or do you just like? You're like, this. I'm comfortable with this.
I try to evolve things.
But like when is that going to happen? Would you say the new song you're writing sounds better than the songs that you have recorded? If you say yes, I'm going to start that. But I'll give it to you.
I think it sounds. Well, I think it still has a lot of the same basics of the other stuff.
No, because the other ones are better. The album songs, which will be out, I'll make it right back here. Are a little bit more polished. Not all the songs are good, but there's probably one or two good songs on that album. But that's because you've been working them for years. And
then you also were like, do this, 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 and this.
Yeah, the song. Yeah.
There are definitely parts in there that are Thomas influenced, and then there's definitely plenty of times where I'm like, no, I'm going to do this anyway.
Yeah, he just does it. It's just like makes no sense.
Oh, it makes me happy.
Yeah, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. It doesn't have to be good. It's true. Just because you like it doesn't mean it's good.
It's true.
I like lots of things that aren't good. It just happens nothing to be I created.
We've established like Nevermore.
Yeah, I do not like Nevermore. I like Nevermore. They just don't write good songs. But I love listen. I could listen to like all their albums straight through, but I don't like all their albums straight through. But I can listen to their albums. straight through. I would say there's like maybe 5 songs I could go, ooh, that's good. But they're not good songs. But I could be like,
that's a good song.
That's a good song. But they're not good songs. But it's the same thing. Like going through Ozzy's catalog, making my list. I don't like a lot.
Yeah.
First of all, "Bark at the Moon."
It's terrible.
I have one song on there that I kept.
It's a "Bark at the Moon."
Yeah, that's it. Bark at the moon.
Yeah, most of that. You know what? Like I don't know if you feel this way
All the time.
but like the album, "The Ultimate Sin." Every
That's
time,
a great album.
every time I hear that album, like straight through,
Yeah.
there's so many good moments.
Yeah.
So many like great riffs and like so many good hooks. But like
It's cocaine.
just nothing ever like seems to
That's a
be
good album.
like stick out other than like "Shot in the Dark" afterwards. But every time I listen to that album, I'm like, oh my god, this is such a good album.
It's a good album. It's a well-produced album. It's not a great album, but it's a good album. And there aren't good songs on that, other than
Listen, it ain't no Anger.
I don't even think Blizzard of Oz is a good album, and the reason is because the majority of the songs on that are not good. But they have some. He has some of his best songs are on that album.
Yeah,
like
Crazy Train.
Anyway, Revelations because it's so different. D because it's just a complete, abandonment of what metal was at the time. So
I had a conversation with my brother about Revelation.
Which one? Because there could be different conversations.
This is true.
They literally could be 3 different conversations.
This was with Adam.
Oh, all right.
So,
All right. So not about God. Go ahead.
not about God.
Or the flavor of ice cream.
God. Or
I love the flavor of ice cream.
ice cream and cigarettes.
Oh, good.
Anyway, so he was not familiar with that song because my brother is not really like super big into music except for like the few things that he like really likes.
Yeah.
He really likes like 70s.
This is the gay brother.
Yes. Which one?
They're not gay until they enjoy it. And by the way, we were young. Everyone bathes together in 18.
Yeah. The young.
Are they 10 years younger than you? I had responsibility.
All at once was easier.
This is so much easier.
But he told me that he didn't like that song because he felt like there was no emotion in the guitar solo.
I agree with him.
Oh.
I don't agree with not liking the song, but there is no emotion. It's all. I think the music itself has more emotion, especially with Ozzy, adding his vocals to it. But the solo is just technically genius.
Ooh.
So I don't think he.
So do you think the playing has no emotion and the composition does?
The overall composition of the narrative does, but the mechanics of his whiteness does not.
Mm.
He's very clean.
Yes.
And it's just. That's it. It's not. He's not doing anything that transcribes emotion into music, and he's just playing. Because if I remember correctly, he's a classical guitarist first.
Yes.
So he's playing. He's literally writing music, but I don't think he's. In fact, I think he wanted to get into jazz or something after the Ozzy, right? It was not like he wanted to leave.
That's what it was. Like he definitely was. He wanted to leave because he wasn't into heavy metal.
Yeah,
Which is weird because he also helped build Quiet Riot.
Well, he didn't help. He left as soon as he possibly could. But
I meant like he was like one of the founding members.
Yeah.
Like he left before they even got signed.
Yeah, because he was like Ozzy. He's a technical guitarist. I don't think like the way he writes basically. If you listen to all his songs, especially Mother Earth, Revelations, it's a classical song.
Yeah,
it's not a rock.
And so is D.
D is 100%. It's basically a box that.
I'll rock and roll.
This is rock. This is rock. What is it? This is Bach and it rocks. This is rock, black of Bach. But yeah, I agree with that. There is no emotion, but the song as a whole is really powerful. But I think Ozzy's weird timbre to his voice,
where he he's not able to sing, but he can sing.
Well, timbre is the texture of his voice, like the way his voice sounds, not necessarily his vocal control, but the sound of the timbre of his voice. It adds to it, you know, like even on Diary of the you know, like all that crap and like waiting at the window, you know, like watch me another day. Like there's so much emotion in him because he's so depressed. Yeah. And he's so miserable, and he's probably high at the time he's doing that.
It's like that. It's like the entire album. It's just like a rock album until you get to that song, which closes out everything. And it's just it's just like an epic masterpiece. It's like what?
Have you ever heard Dream Theater do that song?
No.
It's amazing.
We need to find.
It's just pure greatness, but it's not Ozzy's version. It's not Ozzy's version.
Well,
but it's just.
I would love to see that, just because everyone in that band is an amazing musician.
Yeah. And
like that song is probably one of my favorite songs. Period.
Yeah, but like if you ever wanted to hear a song, like listening to Dream Theater play like Iron Maiden or Metallica, you're like, oh, that's what it would sound like if you could play. You know, like, but they take away the I love Dream Theater, but they take away the emotion of like, you know, of just being sloppy. You know, like, and also Lars can't play drums, so you know, like hearing Mike Portnoy play the drums, an actual drummer. You're just like, damn, there's some time to play. I like when people used to say he was a good drummer, and then actual drummers started appearing.
Like,
and they're like, oh, this guy's a terrible drummer. What are we talking about?
Lars being a terrible drummer.
No, I think how do we get there? Music writing.
Revelation.
Oh, your brother was saying Revelation was not emotional. Why do you ask that?
Because we're talking about.
I agree with him 100%.
Well, that song is, definitely hits me in all the feels.
The song does, yeah. I agree with that statement too. The song, but that solo is like a robot. Or whatever the ending is like. You know what I'm saying? It's just like he's just going through a mode. Like it's no emotion to that. That's why I say to you sometimes, like when you play solos, I'm like, your solo has no narrative purpose in the song. It's just you whittling over a riff. And you're like, it doesn't. And it's like, you don't even know. You and I couldn't even have a conversation in theory. Like just like how music works. And like, what would you do over this chord? You'd be like, I don't know. I would do this. And then you would play until it sounded like something. And I'd be like, all right, but can you do that without ever touching the guitar? And that's the difference between being able to write something that is, and just through like dialogue, just like in a book. Like there's a difference between going, this is what is literally being seen in the episode, you know, JD and Thomas sit at a desk. They talk into microphones and they're doing, I don't make this stuff up, right? Versus making this scene have a purpose, making the scene have a relative empathy and we're in their moment and we're seeing their adventure unfold. Like those are two different story types.
Yeah.
So that's what I talk about. When you write solos, you write like the first thing. Like these are notes. These notes are in tune to the part. There's stuff happening behind me, but I'm not necessarily playing to the movement of the song. And then like for example, not in your music, but in music in general. Like I always like when people are like, yeah, this song's about depression and just like, you know, not being able to do anything. And the song is
too much energy.
And I'm just like, this ain't about depression. This is about manicness or chaos or you know, aggression, anger, you know, fear. It's even more about
broccoli.
Not to get the broccoli. It's disgusting. Oh, I'll spit it right out, buddy. But you know what I'm saying? Like, or even the other way. It's about depression. The song is like, and then the solo comes and they go, and you're like, that has nothing to do with the narrative. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Not that the solo is bad, and not that it doesn't work without piece, but it narratively has no purpose.
It doesn't keep it the feel.
Yeah, you could say feel, but what I'm saying is like, there's a time and place for every note. And when you're trying to say something, it's like if I was writing a story with words and I was like, well, I know a lot of words. I'm just, so the sentence is, the cat escaped the house, right? Like that's a very straightforward sentence, but I know so many words. So the cat,
The feline.
not even. It's the cat, preposterous, triangle, inconsistent, walked out the house. You're just like, why are those words there?
Because he's an inconsistent triangle cat.
Because they're good words. They're cool words. It's a cool thing. It's a or a, like it's cool, but it doesn't necessarily make sense. Just because I know how to do something or I know words, it doesn't make it. Does that make sense?
Exactly. Everything has to have a purpose.
Every tool you have, everything that's at your disposal needs to be used in a way that is saying something. And when it comes to music, you don't have words, but you can still write out words with notes. But in a sense, you're saying something. There's a theory. You could look this up on the internet. You won't find it right now.
In general, yeah.
There is a study that if you put the right notes together in a sequence, you can heal sickness, you can rejuvenate, you can kill somebody. Do you know about this?
No.
You know the poo note? You know how they make
the brown note?
The brown note? That's a real, the concept of the brown note is based on real science, musical science. So music is very powerful, but just being able to play something doesn't necessarily mean you're in control of something. So anytime I say that to you, it's not saying it's a bad solo. It's just saying you're
just doing it to do it.
Yeah, you're like, I want a solo on this part, but why do you want a solo on this part? Because there's no vocals. None of your song vocals. Why don't you just solo over the whole song?
That gets boring.
No, I don't listen to Joe Satriani.
Yeah, me either.
Is he solo? No, I think that's a part. Then it gets to the solo section, and you're just like, is everyone playing the same solo? But
it's all harmonies. They're building chords.
Dream Theater does that really good.
It's just really fast chords.
That's why I think Dream Theater are good writers, even when their stuff sucks. It's like everything
has purpose.
Yeah. Their music has
even though it's like a flash. They're being flashy. It's like it makes sense within the context of that piece.
Because every note you write has a follow note. It has a brother note and a sister note, right? So
and a cousin note.
I guess you could say that. But you're working on a song right now where I was like, the beginning is amazing, and then out of nowhere you're writing a new song. Like you have this one song, and then you're just like, I don't want to finish that song. So then you just start playing a new song, but it's on the same song. And the reason is it's the same thing with Dream Theater is they take a theme and a feel, and they evolve that. And even though it might get more aggressive, they make sense. It's not joltish. It's not just like, I just want to play something different. So again, that's an example of having the tools and then being able to be creative. And again, being creative has nothing to do with being successful. You can paint the wall blue and be like, I painted it blue, I'm successful. But I think that's why, when you're writing, I'm just sitting there going like, does he even know what he's playing? Even though you're writing it, you could play anything you want. You would be knowing what you're playing, but it's like why go there? And then I'm trying to think, but because it's music, my brain, I can't focus if there's music because all I do is think about the music. But I'm like, why would you go there? And I'm thinking of 3,000 other variations you could have went that would make sense. And then you just decided, what would be cool if
the one thing that doesn't.
Yeah.
And annoys Thomas.
I just want to play fast right now. So.
I should just write something.
You do it all the time.
No, actually try and write something that's just I know that he's not going to question every change that happens.
That's literally every song you write.
Not every song.
It's every song you write.
Because I don't do it with the intent of trying to get you to go, why would you do that? I just write.
Just write a song. Even every song you've ever shown.
It would be really funny though if me doing that, I end up writing the one song. You're like, this is great. I'm like, but it doesn't make any sense. You're like, no, it makes sense.
To that point, I wrote a song as a joke because JD likes to repeat things a million times. Mm-hmm. So I wrote a joke song, and JD was like, "Oh, I really like what you're working on." And I was like, "What?" but I was doing it to like get something that would be funny, and he wasn't even in on the joke yet. And he's just like, oh, I like that. I'm liking it.
And you're like,
it's like, I wrote it to make fun of you. He's like, oh, but I like it. I was like, oh my God, of course you like it. And it was just, I literally was going,
do you remember that song?
Yeah, I can remember it crap. It's and then it goes, then I go to single notes. And then I just repeat that over and over. Now, the reason none of that changes is why?
Because it's the same feel.
No, it's the same theme.
Mm.
Not only am I playing the same chord progression, but I'm playing the same movement. And so it's the same rhythm, just with them. So it's the same theme. So that would not count or consist as a new part. And then if I just went da da da, right? But let's say the drums were like still going, but I was just holding it. That is still the same theme, and the song has not changed yet. So if I did 2, 2, and 2, I just went for 6 progressions, and I decided to lose my audience. And that's why it would be a terrible song. What?
No, I don't have an argument.
Can't argue with it. In fact, I think every song you've ever shown me, I've been like, I like that part, but this is too long, or why are you going there? You definitely you need to stop there, or you need, like I don't think I've ever heard one song that you wrote except for that acoustic version you did.
Oh yeah.
Because the way you played it on your own
without having the other instruments
was amazing. And then
because I was jumping back and forth between the lead and the rhythm parts.
That's how the song should have been. That's how the song should have been recorded. But that means you could put the other instruments to basically emphasize those moments. But instead what you did was you allowed parts to keep going, and then you just did like the lead guitar melody stuff. By the way, I don't consider a melody a lead, and I don't consider a lead a melody. But anyway, if during the part where, like when you played for me, those parts were happening, the behind those parts shouldn't sound like the part that we just heard. Like it should evolve, Mm-hmm. And that song would have been, because I think that was the only song ever where I was like, that song is good.
And there's something that I was working on that I just started writing out in MIDI that I haven't recorded that you said you really liked.
Well, that was the thing I was just making fun of, where the beginning was great.
No. This is just before we ended up moving, because I was like, I forgot. Like I just basically was like weird random
maybe
spurt of Tom is going to approve of this artistic thing. Because I remember afterwards you're like, that's literally the best thing I've ever heard you. Like,
oh, I think I remember you working on that. Yeah. But you didn't finish it, right?
No, it's I have like the skeleton of it, so I have to go back and like clean it up and like.
So there's a chance you're gonna destroy. You were like, be cool with the bass. What's the bass band? It's gonna be all higher.
Why is it playing an octave higher than the guitar?
Because my fingers are tiny.
I can try to play with fingers. That's why I play guitar. It's the
By the way, that's not a sound effect. That is literally me. If you're listening to this,
we should just record it this way I can say.
All you have to do, by the way, to be a better writer is just stop thinking about what you like. Just write so good. No, you know how to practice writing?
I do not.
You don't know how to practice writing? But how do you practice playing?
But
no, like how do you practice like when you were learning like scales? How do you learn to do scales?
Well, I would learn like what is a scale, and I would learn the scale and then run it.
There you go.
A bajillion times
so what
over.
You do, and by the way, the best thing you can do for your writing is to actually learn how to write other genres
and see how it's being
because then
written out and literally write it out.
Yeah, because you can learn how to write songs by understanding how music in general is written across the genres. But anyway,
because all the things that are the same within the genres are just the basics of
exactly. Music. And by the way, I didn't write out other songs like you just said, like write those songs out. What I did was I would listen to songs like for example, there's a humorous limerick of people in my car with heavy metal, and then all of a sudden, like a Britney Spears or Beyonce pops on. I'm like, well, I have to learn how that music works. And they're like, why? And I'm like, because I'm writing for these people, you know, whatever the case may be. And hearing their music and then trying to write a song like that was the practice. Can I write a song that has the same feel?
Wait. So are you telling me that there's a Thomas J. Baleza, like,
Yeah,
Britney Spears pop song?
Letter of Fate's Courtship is an example of me literally writing a pop song. That's all I did is I wrote that song like a Beyonce or a Britney Spears song. I was like, this is their formula. I'm gonna write that. I just put it in my style because I have that ability to do that. But that is 100% a pop song. You can do it.
But it's definitely a pop song.
For Faith was a pop song too, but then I added like a little, something. I was like, I'm gonna make this a little bit.
You added a euphonium.
Yeah, I was like, no, I like middles in songs. Like I like
Bridges.
No, like middles, like where it's like an instrumental middle, like where it's like 3 or 4, like.
So you like the Dream Theater in it?
Actually, believe it or not, I consider it Metallica.
Oh, yeah.
Because Four Horsemen was like that.
Master of Puppets.
Master of
Had
Puppets.
like 4 hours of amazing metal.
Yeah, like I like, but like there's like an intro, like there's the whole first part of the song, and then to me the middle is the physical representation of the story in music, whereas the beginning is like the literal narrative variation of the song, and then the ending is sort of conclusion. Yeah, it's like the chorus would be ultimately wrapping it all up. So that was where I got that kind of. But I love middles, and that's why "Welcome to the Moon" is like a 5.5 minute, 6 minute middle.
Oh my god!
Right, but it's as long as the intro, the narrative. The narrative part is long. It's only 16 minutes. But there's also like a whole end to it too. So not only is there like a middle, but then there's like an ending.
Yeah. And wait, December 3rd is on this new album, right?
Yeah, but I think that's only 13 minutes.
Well, according to you, it's harder than.
It is much harder than that song.
Dear God.
And Small Crime is, I think, longer than that song. And Small Crime is.
Oh, because we're doing a long version.
Yeah.
How long is? The one we did for the show.
6.
6. So the long version is like 12, 15?
12 or 13. It's a much slower second half though, because it's supposed to be they're in purgatory. Because at the end of that first chorus, they are both dead. Because he kills himself and then she kills herself.
And she's like, "Hey, I'm here." And
he's like, "Son of a bitch." Because it's a love scene.
I think you left without me. Such a follow.
By the way, just as a funny aside, I used to tell JD you should write out your songs. He'd be like, no, and he would just practice the songs. And then he started writing them out with hesitation. And then he started getting gigs where he would have to write.
Yeah.
I don't tell you to do things just for prosperity. I do it.
It's just so weird that like it randomly popped up. Like it was just like, oh, by the way, this thing. It's like, God damn.
Well, what is even more funny is his friend just reached out to him about marketing a brand on social media, specifically Reddit, and he was hesitant to take my heating advice to focus on brand and message building on social media, specifically on Reddit, and look where it led.
Literally to that.
I'm just saying, I don't give me pushback because I know better. I'm more aware than you will ever be, and that's not an insult. That's just because of my situation. I'm more aware than everyone.
I want to know where you're keeping like the antenna. I think it's in the band.
It's my ass. No, seriously, I have a donkey. And he just holds on in his mouth.
And then there's like a Bluetooth connection between you and there, and he just goes.
Yeah. I'm like, what's going on? Oh yeah, JD, you know what we should work on too? Specifically, what you should work on. What? Do you like sewing? I'm not gonna sew.
No. You should sew.
Yeah, you should totally. Sewing will help you with your writing and music. Really? Oh, so I'll start sewing. 3 months later. Hey, JD, do you know how to sew? Yeah. Yes, I do. Weird you ask. What do you need it for? I have this $10,000 gig that I'm trying to do, and I need some help. Oh, you gonna pay me? Yeah, $3,000. Okay. Also, writing out music helped him with a gig that he got for the jam play.
Yeah,
you got paid extra for that.
I did got paid extra for that.
See that? See if you didn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have gotten that extra.
Yeah, that was the first time it happened. And then like the other like session stuff
Yeah.
was like a little more recent stuff.
Well, you said you wanted to be a musician, so I figured I'd give you the tools to be a musician instead of like. It sounds when I tell them to do stuff. By the way, just for the audience, it sounds insane.
Because it's usually literally out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like there will be like complete silence, or like I'm listening to music, or he's listening to music, and then he'll just be like, "Hey, JD," and I don't know if it's gonna be like.
Would you rather?
Would you rather? Ridiculous situations.
How big's your penis?
Or if it's gonna be like, world life shattering and changing like advice. I'm just like, oh god, what is it?
What's funny though is he can't tell.
No, because it's always delivered in the same. Hey, guess what?
And even after I say it, he's like, "Why is he asking me stupid things?"
It's just like, that's so dumb. Why would I do that?
Yeah.
And they'll keep at it and be like, hey, you start doing that thing. You should do this thing.
No, I didn't do that. I didn't work on that. Why not? I don't need it.
And you're like,
I'll never. I think at one point he said, "I'll never really have to do what you're doing here." And then now he's about to help a friend.
yeah.
With it. I don't like Reddit. Reddit is stupid. I don't want to have to deal with it. I'm just gonna focus on Facebook and Twitter. I'll just post on Instagram. Instagram rules. So easy. I'll just put a photo up. And it does its trick. It does its trick. By the way, I looked at my Pinterest the other day, and he's like, look, I got 12. I got 12,000 impressions in 28 days.
He hasn't touched his.
I didn't touch
Pinterest
one.
in like
168,000. He's like, oh, it's those dog images. It don't matter what images it is. It's my Pinterest. He's like, look, 12,000. And I made like a mocking sound, like, oh, right? And JD definitely had the energy of like, that was good for 28 days. And then I sit down, I'm like, honest. One photo had 72,000 impressions.
It's literally half.
It's just so crazy. So crazy. Imagine I cared. Imagine I put time and effort into doing that stuff.
You would be emperor of the world at this point.
Oh man, I want nothing to do. My thing is I want to be the master of the behind everything.
Yeah, I mean, you do like a good behind.
That's it's because it's America's ass. But like I want to be the person that's opening doors for others, and I want to be like.
You want to be able to say yes to people.
Yeah, but I also want to get to the point where if I want to be in front of the camera, or if I want to do stand-up, or if I want to do music, I can do it. But that's not really like I don't have to be a celebrity. Like I don't want to be the person that's on the talk shows. However, I would go on the talk shows. But I'm just saying, like, I don't want to have to be that person. I would like that I have the choice where I'm like,
you're like, I'm gonna go have fun today.
Yeah, I worked on this project with somebody. I'm gonna go out and market it.
La, 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 la.
But I that's why I'm not as aggressive on. I think I've been very vocal. I don't need social media to make me like social famous, but because everything that I do is behind the scenes anyway. That's where my power lies.
Yeah.
People call me up. Hey, do you know? Like the other day, somebody was like, "Do you know any animators?" And I got like 60 people who come in my way, and I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to organize this. And my friend's like, "Yeah, but I can get them all to you." And I was like, "I need like 2." And he's like, all right, I'll get you to 2, and then I'll send the other. I was like, please do not send me that list. Because he has like a spreadsheet of just like everyone he's worked with over the last 40 years. And I was like, I just need to. But I got 2 from him, and then I got like 1 from another person, and then my buddy, he sent me some, so I tried. The reason I did that, by the way, instead of taking that massive list is why. Why do you think I did that?
So you could build relationships with multiple people.
That's right. I have multiple people. They have a sense of worth and urgency. And then not only did I absolutely send their contact information to the person asking for it, but now they all have an opportunity. They might not all get it. Yeah. So if I just went through one person and took that huge, I was like, I do not want that list.
Give me 2 people.
2, your best 2. A few days after that, though, he wrote back and he's like, "Are you sure? Like, I could send you a couple more." And I was like,
"Okay,
please don't. I wouldn't even have the energy." But I did that on purpose because the plan was to give everybody a chance. Like I didn't
Not
want to
just
give
one
one person. Yeah. So, and even though they all recommended somebody to me, they're still valuable to that introduction. You know what I'm saying? Because it's
Yes.
like, you know, but that's really the secret to your circle of influence. Is like I have these options. I'm not going to go to one. I'm going to go to several and let the person who needs them figure out. But that's my area of expertise. Is that I know a guy.
I mean, that's very Italian of you.
Yeah, people are like I know Thomas. They don't go. I know a guy. They go.
I know Tom.
I know Thomas. Now you know Thomas.
Oh my God!
Oh my God! I forgot to even reach out to him. You should reach out to him. All right, I'll reach out to him. Hey Thomas, do you know? Yeah, I was just talking. Yeah, that's my secret. But it looks like I do nothing all day. It really does. I feel like I do nothing all day.
Well, that's on you.
I know.
I know. I think it's just because you sit in a really comfortable chair that you just got yourself.
Oh yeah, my chair is really. I don't think I don't like getting up from that chair. The chair is actually quite comfortably uncomfortable.
What?
It's extremely comfortable to sit in and to work, but when I want to relax, it's uncomfortable. Like my other chair, like the one that's down here, like I can lean back and there's no resistance forward. It's just like I can lean back and just stay in that position. This one, like I have to have like strength to hold it back. So
like it forces you to get up and go to the couch.
Yeah. But
when you're in focus mode, it's really comfortable.
yeah, it's extreme. Like it keeps my posture nice and like you know, stuff like that. And like I don't have to. I could take the hands, the
arms go up and down, so you can play guitar.
Yeah, that's been nice. But what's funny is I forget that I have them. Like have them up, and I'll be looking for them.
You're like, where the hell did I grow and like height?
Where the hell are my arms? Oh, you know. And then as soon as I put it down, it's like, oh wait, actually, I have these. So, yeah.
You should watch for like that one moment where you're like, Loomis and a JD.
Yeah. Because I'll hear, hey, I got an idea. And I'm like, what, JD? Oh, God, and he's like,
it involves turtles.
Look, I know we're looking for opportunities to bring movies to the screen. So I was thinking, what about like an Olympic-sized pool?
Full of jelly.
What? You know,
and 3 mongooses.
Because actors like to stay in shape, you know. And I figure if we can bring enough actors together, right, we can get them to stand. If they get into shape, they could stand on each other's shoulders and like you know, and then they could like basically make the screen, and then we could screen the film.
On that note, what do you want for dinner?
Not hamburgers.
Not hamburgers.
I don't know where. Maybe I'll have ice cream.
I mean, we could do a deep fried ice cream.
You don't like ice cream? You don't like it.
I don't really like ice cream.
What's the one like food that is extremely unhealthy that is like you're like I like eating that.
McDonald's. I lump all of it together because it's just the same.
Just McDonald's.
Yeah.
I'm talking like you know how like I'll eat like Nutty Buddies.
Oh, you're talking about like candy?
Yeah, candy or like junk food.
Junk food.
Not
McDonald's.
not go through the garbage and pick up.
I guess Reese's.
Reese's?
Yeah. Especially like the egg ones, just because like there's more peanut butter.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna be Reese's because.
Did you say Reese's?
Reese's.
You like eating Reese's?
I do. I like eating Reese's.
Do you look at them and go, I eat that Reese's? and then I'm like, you should go tell him that you would eat the Reese's. You notice how I said him because most Reese's are hims.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Reese's?
Call me old fashioned.
Call me old fashioned, but I'm useless. I always hate the that term where they say, yeah, well, you know, from a different time. Yeah, well, they should still be murdered. Like, what do you mean? That's the excuse?
No, you learn.
Why did you murder this person? They're from a different time, Your Honor. Oh, you know what?
He is 5 years older than the victim.
That's true. You know, we didn't put it. You know. All right, let's case dismissed. You're free to go to jail.
Oh man,
you have a gavel. It's called your Would you rather your penis be used as a gavel or an
What's an
It's like, oh, that's it. That's it.
I mean, gavel's more fun.
Oh my god, it'd be black and blue all the time.
Yeah, callous. It's like playing guitar. The more you use it, the more calluses. We'll feel it.
Bye, everyone.